All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining me on a Monday to do a great weekend wrap up of sports is Jason Cameron. After a hiatus of a week, this guy got sick, probably COVID, you dirty guy. And I endured some sick days. You said you were not feeling very good at all.
No.
How are you now? Did you recover 100%?
I recovered 100. I've covered 100%. I was down and out for a couple of days. If it had gone any longer, I would have done the test to see if it was COVID. I never did, but I was down and out, and it sucked. Oh man, did it ever suck? And it's funny though. Now when I look outside, now you see that now we got rain.
Yeah.
I don't think last week was that bad. So I would have preferred to be sick now, because now it's like there's no point in me going outside ever. So
yeah, I know. I looked at the forecast for the week ahead, and it's rain, showers, rain. Little, there's I don't know how many words to describe rain they have, but it seems like it was every description in the book for the next couple weeks ahead. So. Yeah, it's definitely fall, just like that, and not feeling like you're missing out too much. Speaking of missing out, I've always had so much FOMO in my life, fear of missing out. It's been just rampant, and I think you're a guy like me that has it as well. It's hard to stay home, especially when it's gorgeous weather. You're always getting calls and texts and requests from people to go do stuff, and there's always so much activities going on. But when the fall hits, I think it gives us a chance to finally say, okay, well, it's okay now that I can stay home and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's you see gray clouds, and then for us being on the West Coast, and you see these gray clouds for months on end, and then you're just like, I don't feel like really doing anything today.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I get FOMO on this podcast too. Every Monday, I spend a lot of time on the weekend preparing for the podcast, and then a ton of time on Mondays. And we do this. We don't have a set time every Monday, so it's all over the map. And I try to spend a ton of time preparing, but I always end up feeling like I'm gonna miss something, and we're not gonna cover it. I'm not gonna mention it. I'm gonna forget it. And often that night I'm watching something, and somebody makes a comment. I think, oh, I can't believe I forgot that. And damn, we didn't even mention that, and all that kind of stuff. And then I thought today, like, just don't worry about it. Like, you can't cover everything. Like,
exactly.
There's impossible to get every single thing covered that's in the world of sports. So just have fun, just get some good takes and enjoy it, and don't worry about it. I'm hoping I can adopt that type of attitude and that type of way of thinking, because it gives me a lot of anxiety and fear of missing out type of feeling. And I don't want to have that every Monday. I'd like to just enjoy myself, have fun, and look forward to this, and not think of some stuff that we're going to miss.
Well, yeah, man, it's just what you can control, right? As long as, for me, as long as we hit our main points, I'm happy.
Nice.
And as long as we do that well, I'm happy, right? Nice. And like you said, we're not going to get everything, because it's impossible. We don't have enough time, because I don't think our listeners want to listen to us talk for the next 10 hours straight.
Right. True. Yeah, good point. Yeah. We could just start talking until tomorrow, probably, and still probably not get to everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I went to the gym today. I was happy about that. I fit in a workout, and I felt really quite good about that. Usually Mondays, they're just so busy, and there's so many people trying to break down the weekend of NFL, especially, and then the UFC talk and things like that. But today I was like, okay, no, I'm going to the gym. I'm just going to get a stress-free hour away, and I'm just going to go enjoy myself and feel really good about it. And I felt great. So I'm raring to go.
Yeah, me too. Because I did the same thing. I went to the gym today. I kind of took last week off too, obviously, because of the sickness. So it felt good to get back in there. And then everybody, my regulars are just like, so what happened to you last week? And I'm like, yeah, well, sometimes you get sick. I don't know what else to tell them.
Yeah, well, good. We're back at it. This is fun. This will be a great episode. I did want to mention the Colorado Buffaloes kind of crashed and burned on Saturday. Came back down to earth. They faced a really tough test in the Oregon Ducks. This was a rematch of a game that I saw back in early 2000s. Fiesta Bowl, Tempe, Arizona. It was amazing. I was like, I pointed out to the people I was with, and I said, look at the difference between the mascots in this game. And the Buffalo came running out on the field and did a couple laps. And then they go, where's the other mascot? And I pointed down to Oregon's sideline, and there was a little duck there. And I said, who's got the more intimidating mascot? Who's going to probably win this game? And Oregon kicked their ass in that game, and they kicked Colorado's ass in this game. The coach, Dan Lanning of the Oregon Ducks, had an amazing speech. Did you see that? Did you see that? Pre-game speech that he gave to his players about going out and beating Colorado's ass?
Yeah. No, I heard that, and I heard they're playing for clicks. We're playing for wins, and like that just got so much run because I'm like, first off, to be honest with you, great line.
Yeah,
it's a great line.
Very
great line. Yeah. Like, so I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. You probably worked a whole week to get that one. I'm gonna give it to you. That's pretty good. Yeah. But also too, at the end of the day, what did we expect? Did you think Colorado was just gonna run the table, be undefeated? No, come on, man.
Yeah,
come on. Yeah. They're not that good. They're not that good yet.
Yeah.
You give Dion a couple more years, his team will be equivalent to Oregon, but not in the first year. Like what he's done so far has been amazing. But yeah, he's not gonna run the table. So
the thing that really stood out to me while I watched the game was that Shedeur Sanders, Dion's kid, was under the gun like crazy. Their offensive line was leaky as a faucet. It was just, he was fading back and guys are coming from every direction. But the play calling I thought was weak because the ball should have gone out of his hands in 2 seconds. Every single drop back, they should have had plays, getting his receivers out in space, getting his running backs. And he was holding on to the ball, and he was looking at his first option, second option, third option. Boom, he was getting sacked. Yeah. I was like, you got to get the ball out of your hand way sooner. They didn't make adjustments. They just seemed to not think about the kind of pressure that was going to come on to them from Oregon's D-line and linebackers and stuff. And it was very frustrating. I was thinking like, okay, there's a big flaw here because I see it. Why can't you see it? Make an adjustment and get it out of his hands so, he doesn't endure the beating that he took. And it was just constant, and it was just rolling up 35-0 at half. And, this game could have been the same as that Miami-Denver game yesterday. It was rough to watch, and I'm not sure why adjustments weren't made.
Yeah, great point. I don't know. I don't know what Dion was seeing. I don't know if he was seeing something different than us. But besides the point, though, also too, Colorado's defense was clearly not good enough. they couldn't stop anything. So, like, I was thinking to myself, if it's going to be like that for Colorado's defense, then just blitz. Yeah. Like that's what I was thinking. Like, just do more blitzing. Just throw caution to the wind and just give it a shot. See if that throws them off their pacing, right? And maybe that would work. So, that's what
it would have been pretty bad weekend to be a fan of football in Colorado. You get that beat down, and then you get the Broncos get beat down 70-20 in the NFL. It's not a good week. You're going to endure a lot of abuse, I'm sure, from your buddies if you're a fan of the Broncos or the Buffaloes in Colorado. They were on such a high, Colorado, after first 3 games, but now, bam, they're back down to earth. And USC next. It's going to be tough there for them. And But yeah, you're right. I don't think anybody thought that they would be undefeated, but after that start, I think everybody started feeling like maybe this is Cinderella story. They're going to be, one of the top teams in the nation, and it's just going to be like a smooth sailing. And this really showed that there's levels to college football, and Colorado's not there yet.
Yeah, no, they're not there yet. And they have plenty of weaknesses that they need to address and work on and stuff. So, but they will get there.
Yeah,
they'll get there, because as long as Coach Prime is still around, they're definitely going to get there.
yeah,
But they need time.
Yeah. So one of the biggest events that was happening locally here in Vancouver over the weekend was the Laver Cup, and we got Team Europe against Team World. John McEnroe, Roger Federer, Bjorn Borg, a lot of top tennis stars in the present day were playing, and it was it was a great event. Except I have a very, very, very big complaint, and I don't know how we're going to ever rectify the situation, but the tickets went on sale like a long, long time ago, way long time ago, and there wasn't a lot of publicity about the ticket sales when they first came out. It was really not, widely publicized and marketed until closer and closer to this event. Well, all the tickets were sold to people who ended up putting them up for sale on the second marketplace. And that happens now almost every event that I go to. I go onto Ticketmaster to buy tickets for a concert, an event, a game, a sport, and they are reselling tickets for double, triple, quadruple, even more than that for tickets now. And lots of tickets were for $30 when they were on sale to the regular general public. They were going for like 4 times that and more, coming up this week. And it was really, really horrible. I would have loved to be there. I couldn't justify spending that. They had 2 sessions each day, so you would have had to spend, hundreds and hundreds of, if not thousands of dollars to try to be there for the whole entire tournament. So it's really something that I hope at some point we can address and stop it. Ticketmaster allowing somebody to sell it secondary after they've purchased it off them, I just think that's wrong. And I think scalping has always been a very controversial subject, but this is really harming it, because the stands were not full. The stands were not even close to being full, but the place was supposedly sold out. And I wasn't there. I would have loved to be there. I really, really wanted to be there, but I couldn't justify the money. Just could not justify spending the money to do it. It was televised, so I watched it, but I'm getting really tired and sick of it, that I'm having to spend 3 and 4 and 5 times the money to go to attend something where if they just left it to the people that wanted to be there, they could buy the tickets at the proper price.
Yeah. I don't know what the rules are. Like, I don't know how many tickets they're allowed to buy in blocks or something like that, because I know that there's always ways to get around that. Yeah. But maybe they just need to put down some harder regulations to curb this, because it is an epidemic now, and it's not cool. Like, you're looking at paying for like a ticket price, like you said, at $30 or $40, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, all the tickets are gone. Oh. But then you go to the secondary, like a website where they sell, and it's like, oh, now it's $160, $170. Like, oh, it's no. But maybe that's what needs to happen too. Maybe more people just have to say this: I'm not going. Yeah, right. Like, just be like, I'm not going. I'm not going to pay for that. Now all of a sudden you'll notice then that the stands, there's nobody in there.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll start to address the issue and say, well, you're sold out. There's nobody there watching the game, but you're sold out. So there you go.
Yeah. It was really disheartening and tough. I had that experience with the UFC, and had to spend way more money than I wanted to, and I just keep running into it. People ended up putting a whole bunch of complaints up online. I also saw a ton of complaints from last week's comedy show, the outdoor comedy show with Kevin Hart and Russell Peters, and people ended up paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the show. And for some reason, Kevin Hart did a 15-minute set and left. And a lot of people were super up in arms, are really mad at him. I never heard him get as much negative press as I've heard this past week for cutting his show short. And I'm not really sure why he did so.
I was there. I went to the show.
Oh,
Yeah, I went to the show. I don't know if it was 50 minutes. I thought it was more like, felt like more like 25 to half an hour, but I did have a couple pops, you know what I mean? But here's the thing. He was actually injured.
oh,
He was hurt because he was doing some sort of stunt. I don't know if it was a current or a former NFL player, but they were doing a 100-meter yard dash race. I saw it on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, I saw that where he pulled up lame a bit. Yeah, I heard his leg.
Pulled up lame because he ended up tearing a part of his lower abdominal muscle.
Oh, right. Yeah.
More than a couple times. I know how much what he likes to do, which is he walks around the stage quite a bit. He's quite active. This one, he didn't move at all.
Wow.
So I knew that he was, quote unquote, playing hurt. And also, too, I knew that he wasn't going to cancel it because, you know, there's money left on the table. So he's not going to do that either. Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, if he comes back to Vancouver, I think he knows that he'll have to do a make good because that was not great. It wasn't even close to acceptable. I guess our option would have been either we see 20 to 35 or 34 minutes of Kevin Hart, or we don't see him at all. That was the choice, right? I guess he chose the latter, but you know, the first part of his thing was pretty good. It was polished. The second half seemed like it was new material that he was testing out in the crowd. Sometimes that can go over well, and sometimes that doesn't, because if it's a crowd of 12 to 15,000 people, you would expect it to be good, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's also another problem. The main issue I had with the entirety of the show was this. I'm never going to another show in Stanley Park ever again.
Oh, wow.
Because of the fact to go into where the show was at and to come out of there, freaking nightmare. All right. Yeah. You can't park anywhere in Stanley Park anyways, trying to get in and out. Right. So at least we were smart in how we approached it. We met offsite, like at a pub, and then we walked in.
Okay.
And then we had to walk out. Another thing that didn't help was that on Lionsgate Bridge, they were doing construction, one lane of traffic both ways.
Jeez.
So it conspired to be like, it was a nightmare to get in there, and it was a nightmare to get out of there.
Wow.
Now that I've experienced that, I'm done. I ain't doing any more shows, anything out at that venue. Yeah. It just sucked getting in, and it sucked getting out of there.
Brutal.
I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, I sure heard a ton of complaints online. Everybody was pretty upset, pretty mad. They said it was, just really poorly handled and everything was bad. And a lot of people said they bought these secondary market tickets and, hundreds of dollars. They were really looking forward to just coming and having some drinks and laughing. And I heard good things about Russell Peters, but not with Kevin Hart. And most people said 15 to 20 minutes. 15 minutes I saw on many posts, so I don't know what the timing was, but that's not enough for you making that effort to go out. And a lot of people, they'd rather stay home. They can do many other things, and it's harder and harder and harder to convince people to leave their homes and go to something, and they experience something like that. You're going to lose thousands of people that want to do that. They don't want to do that again.
No, of course not. And then also, too, the other thing is you had to pack in all your own gear. It was like going camping. Like you had to have chairs and stuff and you're cool. Like for me, I didn't even bother with any of that. Yeah. Right? I didn't bother with any of that. So now that only like after that, then I get sick, but my legs were destroyed. And you want to know why?
No.
I haven't been on my legs like that on my feet for hours. So we're not working. Right. Like everything, right. Like, so on top of me being sick, and I'm like, my calves are killing me. They were like absolutely killing me because I was on my feet for, I would say, 5-6 hours straight, at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh? Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned the chair thing because we hauled some chairs out. We put some chairs in my vehicle and we hauled some chairs to this harvest festival we were going to. And as we were getting out, I thought, I don't really want to have a chair. Like, I got to haul this stupid chair around with me all night. Like, this doesn't seem cool. And then I said, no, I'm not going to bother. And Lorraine said, you should grab a chair. Everybody else is going to have a chair. And I'm like, they are for sure. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, they'll just set them up and then we can move around and have them there. And I'm like, yeah, okay. If everybody else has a chair, I guess so. And in a way, I kind of regretted it, but in a way, it was kind of good because it would have sucked to be on my feet for that many hours. Like, I just probably wouldn't have been that happy if I couldn't sit down anytime at any place. And then there was no other place to sit down other than, in your own chair that you had to bring. So, I guess in a way I was happy I brought it, but in a way I was not happy because I didn't want to haul around a stupid thing like that.
Exactly. And then that's why I didn't even bring a chair because I'm like, I'm not hauling around a stupid chair all night. And then even with the group of people I went with, like the one couple, forgot about their chairs. I was hauling them around. I eventually had to go to the bathroom, so I put them right down in front of them. So we left, and then eventually I'm like, hey, Shane, where are your chairs, man? He goes, I guess they're back there. I'm not going back to get them.
Just abandoned them.
And there was a lot of people that abandoned stuff. Like that thing was a nightmare after it was done. Like it was just like looked like a wasteland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much you paid for tickets?
I think it was $130, 120, 130. So I didn't have, like, we bought ours right away, like off of Ticketmaster. Okay. Right. So that's why it wasn't exceedingly expensive. But at the same time, like you said, if the main event, the main guy that you come and see is only up on stage for 20 minutes, where normally every other show that I've ever seen him do is at least almost like 50 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not great.
Not great. Yeah.
Not great.
Well, you and I talked last night, and we did so after I texted you the great news that the writers have come to a tentative agreement in principle, I guess you can say, with the studios. And very good news that you said you were really not expecting at all. And it seemed to just come together all in all last week. They decided, okay, we got to get it in before the big holiday of Yom Kippur today, and they were able to pull it off. And shockingly, this is some resolution. The actors are still out on strike, but this is a really good first step that needed to be done.
Well, something needed to be done. Actually, something needed to happen. And so for me, when you texted me that, I was like, that can't be real. I was still like, I didn't believe it because it's like, well, I thought they wanted to really give it to us and starve us out. Like, just be like, nah, man, maybe November, maybe then we'll talk, but at the same time, like, as I've always told you, shareholders like making money.
Yeah.
That's why they're shareholders.
Yeah.
And then if nothing is happening, I don't make any money.
Right. Yeah.
So I was always thinking to myself, how long will they let that go until they're finally like, all right, enough of this nonsense. You guys represent us. Go back to work.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, well, I'm glad there was some pressure. It seemed like from the shareholders, from some, insurance people and whoever else. At the first meeting, they were so positive, and I was like, "Whoa, weird." That usually is not the case when you've been, miles apart for months and months at a time. And they were like, deal is imminent. And then I thought, oh man, that's not good to see, because I thought, oh, the studios are going to put the pressure, saying, oh, we put a great deal on the table, and the writers have rejected it. And so I thought, oh man, this is a union busting tactic if I ever seen one. And I thought, oh man, this is shitty. This is going to be dragging on into the fall. But and then all of a sudden Friday, I heard, okay, yeah, they're really seeming to come together, and there's been concessions, and I was like, holy cow. And then I didn't realize that they were going to meet all weekend to do it right before Yom Kippur, though. And you and I laughed when when we realized that that was a sort of a deadline that they set, because all the studio execs are Jewish, and they really needed to make sure that they wouldn't miss out on Yom Kippur. So this came together. Thank goodness for Yom Kippur.
Yeah, yes, thank goodness for Yom Kippur. But the one thing that I am happy about, because I thought that the negotiations with the writers would be harder than the actors, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I thought that's the way it would go. Like, get the actors done first and then the writers. But now that it's gone the opposite way of what I expected, I'm like, maybe the actors will be maybe a little bit more problematic for them. I don't know. Yeah. But I'm just happy that one thing has been solved. So something has happened and we're moving forward, which is, again, I'm freaking amazed.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
That there's actually been adults in the room on both sides, and they're like, well, like, we could just keep doing this, or we can just try to find a resolution and come together. No.
Yeah. Out of everything you said, I like adults in the room the most, because it didn't seem like they were being adult-like in their press conferences and anything that came out via the media. It just did not seem like this was going to come together. And you're right. I saw the I think the actors kind of went in solidarity with the writers and decided, they would make sure that there was going to be a strike from them too, because I feel like the writer strike was going to be a lot harder to come to an agreement than with the actors. So I hope we're right on that, and I hope they can sit down. Maybe they can utilize this as a good framework to get a deal done. Similar things that the writers in the studios are agreeing on with residuals, with AI and all that kind of stuff. I don't see why you can't sort of utilize that same framework.
Yeah, no, I would imagine that they would do. Some things will definitely be similar. Some things will definitely be different. One thing that I'm actually positive. I'm absolutely positive. One thing that's from the actor side of things that will be an absolute non-starter is this. Background performers, you can't pay them for one day and own their likeness forever. Yeah. Non-starter, never going to happen. Yeah. Let's go forward from that.
Yeah.
Because I know that's not happening.
Yeah.
Because nobody in their right mind would ever agree to anything like that.
That seems, that seemed crazy right from the start when we heard the details of that. And I'm sure that's an absolute non-starter. And once they take that off the table, they'll be able to come to an agreement much sooner, and we'll get back to work. This isn't 100% done. Whoever's listening, watching, this needs to be ratified, needs to go to a vote. The writers all have to come to a consensus agreement. But big step. And this has been dragging on since May, and for way longer than anybody wanted to have it. So we're happy today. At least we got some positive news to finally tide us over. And I think we'll be looking like, I would put a guess on back to work late fall for most productions. Maybe some of the productions will push it into 2024, but I think for the majority, most productions, if this can come together pretty quick, maybe late fall we'll be able to see some work for people.
Yeah, which would be great. Which would be awesome for everybody involved in film. Everyone.
The NHL preseason started this weekend. They had a couple games in Melbourne, Australia, which is where my sister, her husband, my brother-in-law, and my niece and nephew live, as well as my cousin, her husband, and all their 4 kids. And I was pretty amazed to watch some of the games from there. That was impressive. What I wasn't impressed by was the Canucks' effort. Did you hear the score of the game that they had yesterday against Calgary?
No, I did not.
It reached double digits.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Calgary laid an absolute whipping on the Canucks, and probably turned off hundreds of thousands of fans already. We've endured so many years of misery here, and opening game, it's a 10-0 shutout, blowout, complete smoke show. Calgary killed us. And I was like, oh my God. I flipped it back and forth a few times, and I was just like, what the hell? Is this actually the way you're gonna start the season here? And just get stomped by your biggest rival, and it was just embarrassing, brutal, and it's just par for the course for the Canucks. But I was a bit shocked that they laid that big of an egg out of the gate. And I'm sure the television viewership here in BC was down to next to nothing by the end of that game. It was brutal. It was brutal.
No, it sounds pretty brutal. Sounds pretty awful. Like, at some point in time, you think that the Canucks can't be more inept, and then they surprise you by being even more so. Where you're like, oh, you can be worse. Oh, okay, that's fantastic. Not a great start. Not a great start, obviously, but hopefully other preseason games they won't get destroyed by double figures. But we don't know yet.
Yeah,
don't know.
I hope so. Oh man, so bad, unbelievably bad, terrible. Now I just want to mention F1. F1 went back to how it has been all season. Last week's race, Max Verstappen wasn't on top of the podium, but in Japan at the Japanese Grand Prix, he was back. Red Bull and him were back on the top. Red Bull's won the Constructors' Championship already. Max can 100% clinch his third straight World Cup title next race. It was a blowout 22nd victory again. He beat Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, both from the McLaren team. They were second and third. But yeah, back to how it's been all season. It was nice that streak was finally over for many people, but F1 is back on, and Red Bull seems to be superior. McLaren has really made a lot of great strides this year, and amazingly enough, both their drivers were on the podium. But I don't know. I guess it was inevitably going to happen because it's been just a complete dominating season for Max Verstappen and Red Bull.
Oh yeah, it's been total, utter domination. Like, has it been so dominating that you said if he wins the next one, he's got it, right? How many more races are left then?
I think 6. I think so.
Yeah. So could he just win it, right? Go to that race, win it, and just chill out for the next couple of races and just watch them in the crowd and be like, no, I'm just drinking now. I'm good.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, just smoke a stogie, sitting back there and just laughing at all the guys that were trying to chase you down. That would be amazing. Yeah, you take a stogie into the car and just drive it on the track. And drive.
And just cruise around the track. I'm not even trying to win. I'm just like, oh no, I'm just cruising.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so great. They should definitely do that. It would make all the news shows for sure.
Oh yeah. And then be like, well, you know what? We since we're so dominant, we just told the guys, just take it easy. Just take it easy, or just go on vacation early. It's up to you. Whatever you guys want.
Yeah, let's hope. I'm going to send those suggestions. Let's send those suggestions to your cousin and see what he thinks too. It's amazing that he's just been so crazy dominant. And they could just go on a Sunday drive. He could take the whole family in the car with him and just drive around the track and not even worry about the finishing. But it's been an amazing year, and I'm sure the rest of the teams are going to have to figure something out in the rest of this year and heading into next year. But Red Bull's taking it. Max is the champ 3 years in a row, and we'll move on. We're into the last week of Major League Baseball, and the Blue Jays have had a resurgence after getting swept by the Texas Rangers. Everybody was down on this team, ready to jump off the bandwagon and give up on them. They've come around. They've won 4 out of their last 6 and had a really great performance over the weekend. Vladimir Guerrero hit 2 home runs yesterday. George Springer hit a inside the park home run. And now they're in a really good playoff position. It looks like, unless things just completely blow up and fall apart this week, they'll be in the playoffs this year. And it really starts looking like they're going to face the Tampa Bay Rays in the playoffs. They beat them 2 out of the last 3. And I can't believe that there's optimism after such a dark time a week ago.
Well, and that's the beauty of sports. You can turn it around in a second, and you can always give yourself a chance, right?
Yeah.
And so I hope that once they make the playoffs, that they can start to make some noise, generate a buzz around the city and around the country.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I sure hope so. That's one of the reasons why I cheer for the Jays. I'm a Yankees fan. I have been since I started following baseball, since I became interested in the game, passed down from my grandfather, and just always will be. And it's hard cheering for 2 teams in the same division, but because of the Blue Jays, when they have success, the interest in baseball in this country just ramps up beyond belief. When the Blue Jays finally made the playoffs after a long way away in 2015, all of a sudden I'd walk into bars and lots of Blue Jays fans cheering, having fun. It seemed like there was Blue Jays parties all across Canada. And you saw it when you went down to Seattle, the amount of Jays fans that went down there, and they just drowned out the Mariners fans. It happens in many ballparks around the country. And I really want that. I really want people in the country to have a uniting force and something to cheer about that's Canadiana. And it really makes people care about baseball a lot more. And I'm much happier when they do.
Yeah, exactly. Like once they win, then people care more, right?
Yeah.
But they have to show the results of all that hard work and effort that they put in through the season and through wins. And once they do that, then all of a sudden more fans come, and then there's the buzz, and everybody's on board. Yeah. So and I hope that they take that, what they've built now, and they go forward with that for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and we saw it with the Raptors. The Raptors went on their run 2019, won the title, and it was the first time I think basketball overshadowed hockey in this country. No Canadian teams were left in the Stanley Cup playoffs at that time, and all of a sudden, I was walking into bars and I was seeing more TVs tuned into basketball than hockey for the first time in my life. And I consider myself more of a basketball fan than a hockey fan, and they run in the same arenas, they run at the same time of year, and it's very difficult in Canada to get that. But once the Raptors won a series, and once Kawhi Leonard hit that amazing shot that bounced around the rim a bunch of times against Philly, I think all of a sudden millions of fans started jumping on board, and it was great. It was a unifying force that only sports can do in a country like this. And it's unique because we only do have those one team in those sports across the country. So it will never happen in the US and many other countries, but here in Canada, because Toronto has those 2 teams, it just really helps get everybody behind one certain team.
Yeah, definitely. It does help. It does help that getting behind the one team and whatever, and whoever is being more successful, that's usually who we will back, right? Because that's what we do. That's what we do as people. That's what we do as fans.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, we're going to turn to the NFL now. Lots of great games this week. Last week there was 12 one-score games. I think that was an NFL record. This week, a lot of blowouts, a lot of games that were really not close. And then there was the upset of the week. Dallas Cowboys losing to the Arizona Cardinals, shocking everybody. But I do want to get to some of the news of the day that came out. Biggest news of the day was Mike Williams, Chargers wide receiver, has a torn ACL. Will miss the rest of the season. Brutal news for a Chargers fan like me, and for a lot of people that were really starting to see this team turn things around. They had a phenomenal win yesterday. Very exciting team. But yeah, brutal news. Just shocking to hear that he's gone for the rest of the year.
It sucks. It sucks. I know that injuries are part of football, but man, these first couple of weeks when football starts up and you start seeing the injuries mount up, you're just like, wow, man, that sucks. Because and also too, Williams a huge part of that offense, and just the fact that he went down like that, not great. Not great.
One of the highlights of the entire weekend was when Justin Herbert tossed it over to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen faded back and threw a 49-yard touchdown pass to Williams. And, they were just seeming in sync. The Chargers running game was absolutely nothing with Eckler out, but they just decided to take to an air assault. Herbert had over 400 yards passing, and, this team looked great, but this is going to be a huge blow. Mike Williams is such a weapon for Herbert and the Chargers. And I guess a guy like Josh Palmer and Don Parham are going to have to step up, but they're not as skilled as a guy like Mike Williams. Keenan Allen had 18 catches yesterday and had just an absolutely awesome game, but Mike Williams will be missed, and I'm really sad to hear it. Really, really sad to hear it. The other big story that came out today was after last night's Sunday nighter between the Steelers and the Raiders, the Pittsburgh Steelers were trying to fly back home, and all of a sudden one of their engines failed, and they ended up having to make an emergency landing in Kansas City. And luckily no one was hurt. An oil pressure failure in one of the engines was said to blame. And this must have been scary. I don't know if the engine completely failed and they were just, under one engine. I don't know how much, details have been released so far with this, but it brought me back to, imagine losing an entire team. That happened in hockey in Russia years ago. An entire hockey team was lost. The plane crashed and everybody was killed. We remember the soccer team that crashed on the Andes and they had to end up eating each other to some of them survive. And but this is scary and brutal. And the football players don't have to travel as much as some of the other sports, but just imagine how scared everybody must have been that heard the news and they had to that they had to do this emergency landing.
Well, first off, number one, it was great that nobody got hurt and there wasn't like a huge tragic scenario that could have been brought about by that, right? Yeah. But if you're on your private jet, the private plane for the team, and you go, why is so much smoke coming out of that engine? And now it doesn't look like it's working. It's like, that is not good. That is not good.
No.
Scary. I would imagine that Pittsburgh, the Steelers organization's like, all right, guess we need a new plane.
Yeah. I would invest in the most brand new plane you got. Like, holy cow, I wouldn't trust that one. I don't know if I don't know exactly what they've done. I haven't heard all the details. I was busy today, but I was pretty shocked to hear that news. It brought me back to years ago. I was covering a golf tournament and I interviewed a guy named Payne Stewart, and he was one of the top golfers in the day back then. And he had just won the US Open recently, and he had been in this tournament that I was covering. And I had a couple really great interviews with him, some good exchanges. And then he boarded a plane, I'd say like the following month, and somehow it lost cabin pressure. Everybody went to sleep, and the plane just flew until it ran out of gas. It crashed, and they died. And it was brutal. They knew that something was wrong because it wasn't responding to any types of communications from the air traffic controllers, and they sent some jets out to fly beside them. And when they were beside them, they just saw frost on the insides of the windows, and they realized that that's what had happened. Somehow it had lost cabin pressure. Everybody falls asleep with no oxygen, and they just have to just keep flying until it runs out of fuel. It was tragic and brutal, and it impacted me for a while because I had just spent some time with the guy, and he was one of the greatest personalities in golf that they ever had. And that was unreal, and it must have been so tragic for his family and his friends and everybody close to him. It was just a shocking moment.
Yeah, of course it's a shocking moment. It's super surreal. Like if you're like a fight or flight that's beside that plane, and you're looking and you go, well, I don't think anybody's alive in there anymore, right? Because like if you're seeing frost and that there's been no oxygen probably in that plane for like the last half hour, that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more you can do. Like it's just like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
So I'm just very happy when I heard that news that nothing like that happened. They were able to land the plane.
Yeah.
By the way, Steelers get a new plane, and everybody's good, right? Like, because that would be the most tragic thing ever. That all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we lost the Steelers. We lost the Steelers as a team. Like, it's gone.
Unreal, man. Yeah. Shocking. Yeah. Hopefully that we never encounter that in our lifetime, and never happens to a team. But I think it happened to Marshall somehow. Obviously, the Humboldt hockey team, that their bus was struck. But geez, must have been a few scary moments for the Steelers, but thank goodness it all came together, and they landed safe and sound, and I'm sure they're back in Pittsburgh as we speak now. Okay, a few other injury notes. I mentioned Mike Williams out. Jimmy G is in concussion protocol from that game last night. I don't know what the hell Josh Daniels is doing, and I don't know what the hell happened with his decision making, but Jimmy G shouldn't have been put in the situation he got put in at the end to give him a concussion. Why did he not go for it on 4th down with 2 minutes and 22 seconds left, kick the field goal down 8, still down 5, hoping that they could stop him with 3 timeouts, a 2-minute warning? But it was the dumbest decision. It's one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen a coach make. And I really like him as a coach. He's done a lot of good things in football, but boneheaded move, terrible move, lots of mistakes coaches are making on 4th down chances this year and over the years. But this year, in those first 3 weeks, there's been a lot of very glaring mistakes. And this one was just mind-blowing. I was like, oh my God, he's pretty much handing this game to the Steelers, because you either go for it on 4th and 4 from the 8, or you go for it back at your 20 and try to march it down in about maybe 30 seconds if you're at the best case scenario. Like, it was just ridiculous. And now his quarterback is hurt, and he should answer to this. This is one of the biggest boneheaded plays I remember seeing in a long, long time.
I just thought he was confused. I thought he was thinking, oh, you're not Tom Brady. Wait, what? Why would I do that? Why did I do that again? Because I was like, what do you, I don't, really? Because it makes more sense that, like you said, you're closer to the goal line and scoring right now.
Right now. Yeah.
So you go for it right now. Right. Because if you wait, then you would need, one of those guys. It's like top 3 quarterbacks in your league right now to pull that off. And Tom Brady is not on your team. Aaron Rodgers is not on your team. He's actually injured. And, none of these guys exist on your team. So I don't know what you were thinking. Were you thinking maybe Devontae Adams, I'll just have you start and throw it to yourself.
Throw it to yourself. Yeah, that could be ingenious thinking because Devontae Adams is that good. He could probably do that. But holy crap, yeah, this was a shock. And I saw a little Kenny Smallhands Pickett, oh my God, like, whoa, it almost looked like Tom Brady celebrating when Russell Wilson threw that pick at the end zone instead of handing off to Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
He was like, did that just really happen? Did that just really just happen? What the hell just went on there? And I've got some Steelers friends that we were texting with, and they were just like overjoyed, like, oh my God, he just had us the victory. And no matter what he says today, no matter what justification, I don't know if it's analytics, maybe analytics like called down from above and said, hey, you got to do this. But I heard that to go for it, he had about a 20% chance or something. To not go for it, it went down to 10% chance of winning, and it was just it was so dumb. It was ridiculous because you're down by 5 still. You got to march it all the way down and get a touchdown. Like, you're there. If you don't get it, you're pinning them deep, and then you can call your timeouts. Then you can stuff them, and then they got to punt it back to you, and you're going to have much better field position. Like, it was just it was just shocking. And now Jimmy G out. I don't know how long this concussion will put him out, but hopefully not long. But this, he kind of deserves it. Josh Daniels deserves this after making such a horrible boneheaded play. And I was stunned. But it's typical. When you see coaches under the gun, they make mistakes. Brandon Staley did that yesterday. He went for it on 4th and 2 from his own 24-yard line with a couple minutes left, and almost handed the game to the Vikings. Luckily, Kirk Cousins threw a pick, and the Chargers won. But Brandon Staley almost messed it up, almost as bad as he messed it up last year in the playoffs when they let Jacksonville come back on them 27-0 down. But brutal, not cool. I do want to mention a couple of the other things before we go through the games. Seahawks, unfortunately, also suffered a concussion to Trey Brown, their cornerback. He's in concussion protocol. Might miss some time. Supposedly it is pretty bad. Alvin Kamara is coming off the suspension list, and not too soon for the Packers. Their running game has been pretty decimated. The Saints organization, their running game has been looking pretty bad since he's been out. So great to see him back. Aaron Jones is limited. Was limited at practice today. Hopefully he's coming back for the Packers, and he is very needed there. Tonight, Puka Nacua is expected to play. He was listed as questionable all week with an oblique strain. He missed practice Thursday, limited in practice Friday, Saturday, but supposedly he's expected to play. And I love this young guy. We've mentioned him every week so far, and this is a good young rookie coming in, and he's been super exciting. So looking forward to seeing him play tonight. I want to start, as we do every week, NFC East. We'll start with Dallas Cowboys. Upset of the week. Arizona Cardinals expected and said on this podcast by Barry Grant Jr. that they were not going to win a game. Well, they beat Barry's Dallas Cowboys yesterday in the biggest upset. This was shocking result, 28-16, and really just dominated by the running game by the Cardinals, especially in that first half. I think that was the most yards that Dallas has allowed rushing in the first half since 1991. It was just porous defense. And Trayvon Diggs getting hurt in practice does not affect this part of your defense. After they beat up on the Jets and the Giants in those first 2 weeks, you started thinking, wow, this is going to be a historic defense. And then the Cardinals run up 182 yards in the first half on them. Pretty stunning result of this one. And obviously just, this is anomaly, I guess you have to say. Dak Prescott threw a bad pick at the end of the game, but I don't know. Who are you going to blame this one on? This was a bizarre result and must have busted a lot of people's drafting and, any kind of survival pools and that kind of stuff. This was a shocking result.
It was a shocking result. The one thing that I thought stood out to me was that this is probably the Cardinals. This is their best game that they'll ever play. like this is it. Like this is the one where they went, all things have come together. God has looked down from his clouds up above and said, I'm going to gift you guys this one. This is from me to you.
Nice.
And so I was like, all right, well, these things happen sometimes, but at the same time, I'm like, the Cowboys should have never lost this game. They should never have lost this game.
No.
But I will say this, the Cardinals were most certainly on point for this particular game. This one game, everything came together for them. Like their quarterback Dobbs was 17 to 20, 189 yards, 1 TD, no picks.
Yeah.
Awesome. And he also had 6 carries for 55 yards. But like you said, it was their running game that controlled the tempo of this game. They controlled the tempo of this game, and they won this game. Connor with 14 carries for 98 yards and 1 touchdown. And then he had Moore for just 3 carries and 54 yards and 1 touchdown. Yeah, that's how they won this game. Surprising that they won it in that way.
Yeah.
But as well for the Cowboys going forward, they're going to have to tighten up that run defense, man. It's like that shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yeah. 222 rushing yards against the Cowboys defense. It was shocking and unreal. I was blown away by the efficiency and how Arizona came up with that game plan to be able to beat them. I really liked I really liked Josh Dobbs in this game, and he looked in control and was very efficient and really called a great game. It was fun to see. I'm not a Dallas fan. I love it when Dallas loses. A lot of people lose their minds when they do. Stephen A jumps on there and has to rub it in like crazy, and it's always fun to kind of watch that. But I was stunned. Dak took a lot of flack last year for having the most picks in the NFL and even missing 5 games. This was his first pick of the year. You can't blame this loss on him, but that pick that he threw was not good. Really a brutal way for them to get the nail in the coffin on this one. I was like, same old Dak when I saw that, but it's his first pick of the year, so maybe give him a bit of a break.
A little bit of a break, but at the same time, brutal pick.
Yeah.
Brutal is just a brutal pick. I don't know what he was seeing, but for me, it looked like, you're just going to pass the other team? That's kind of cool. All right.
Yeah, that was bad. This young guy, Rico Dowdy for Dallas, he's been languishing on the practice roster and as a third stringer for 4 years, I believe it has been. Great to see him finally emerge. He got a touchdown. He got 7 touches and looked really good. A couple of the plays, I was pretty impressed with him, and maybe they've got somebody to back up Tony Pollard. Zeke was that guy last year, but maybe somebody has emerged for them.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Like I said, like you were just saying, he looked really good, and hopefully they continue to utilize him because Pollard, wasn't his fault either. He had a great game. 23 carries, 122 yards. He did what he was supposed to do. So, yeah.
Dallas should get a victory coming up this week. They host New England, who's not a powerhouse. That's in the later window on Sunday, 1:25 kickoff Pacific, 4:25 Eastern. The Cards go to the 49ers, same time. Difficult matchup for them. I expect they'll lose that game. The Cards They had the lead in those first 2 games of the season and blew the lead, but good to see them get that victory. And never want to see a team go winless. So glad they got that victory. It might be few and far between the rest of the year, but I'm glad. I don't want to see a team go 0-17. That's just painful.
Yeah, it is painful, but you get good memes out of those too. So I could go either way.
Okay. Okay. I get you. Okay, sticking in the NFC East, let's turn to the Commanders and the Bills. Commanders came out of the gate 2-0, and everybody's like, "Oh man, this team's amazing!" And then, bam, the Bills put a thumping on them yesterday, 37-3. They put a bad thumping on Sam Howell. They sacked him 9 times and picked him off 4. Welcome to the NFL, Sam Howell. It's not as easy as you think. That Bills defense not really vaunted as much as Dallas, San Fran, Jets, many other teams, but man, they looked great in this game and did not give Howell even a chance.
No, Howell did not have. Sorry.
There you go.
Okay. Howell did not have a chance at all. He did not have a chance at all. The Bills defense definitely, they dominated him. A lot of his picks, like I don't think it's like all of a sudden you just couldn't see where the players were.
Yeah.
You couldn't see what the defense was, man. And I think that was probably due to like the defensive coordinator scheming against him. He had a horrible game. Allen had a good game. 218 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a pick, but he ran one in. And his favorite receiver, since they're now good buddies again.
Finally.
Finally, they're bros again. They were broses. 8 receptions for Diggs for 111 yards, right? So, yeah, dominating win by the Bills. And you know what? Quite frankly, for me, it should have been a dominating win for the Bills. This is a team that they should be handled, and they did.
Terrell Bernard was the first player since Brian Urlacher in 2007 to have two or more sacks, get an interception and a fumble recovery all in the same game. An absolutely beast mode game for him on defense, and one of the biggest contributing factors. They had a great game from James Cook. Gabe Davis got a touchdown. Latavius Murray got another. And Buffalo, after losing that game to the Jets, I think a lot of people started doubting the Bills, but they should have won this game, like you said, and they did so handily. Buffalo hosts Miami. I'm really looking forward to this game coming up on Sunday, early window, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, and then Commanders go to Philly. So another really stern, tough test for Washington. The only one good thing I can say about Washington was it was so great to see Magic Johnson there in the owner's box. I love it. I think that's going to be such a massive move for this team, and I think the sky's the limit. The upward trajectory is going to be pretty great because he's part of this franchise, and anything he touches turns to gold. He's magic, and he's displays his magic in business, in sports, and it's a great thing for this franchise.
Yeah, it is great. It is fantastic. But you know what's even better? What's even better than all of that is not seeing Dan Snyder up there.
Yeah.
That's the real gift.
The real
that's
great
the
thing.
real gift that just keeps on giving. Because
Yeah.
now everybody's just like, oh, that's right. That is so far behind us now. Only good times ahead.
Yeah. So happy to see that. Definitely. So happy. Okay. We're going to get to the Eagles in a sec, do a preview of the Monday Nighter who they play the Bucs tonight, but let's talk about the Giants. They were dominated on Thursday night by the 49ers, 30-12. This was not the greatest game because I just saw a blowout happening, and it really could have been a lot worse, but total domination. Brock Purdy was great, 310 yards, a couple touchdowns. Debo was phenomenal. 6 catches, 129 yards and a touchdown. Kittle was good. Bell was good. Christian McCaffrey, as usual. Geez, man, weapons. And then their defense was great. They only gave up 150 total yards to the Giants. They only allowed 10 first downs for 6 punts and only 20 minutes of possession for the Giants in the entire game. So, wow. The Niners, look out. They're great, and the Giants are really not.
Like the 49ers are just looking like one of the most complete teams in NFL right now.
Yeah.
Like they're just looking like this a scary juggernaut that just like, oh, we get the 49ers, great. So where are they weak? Nowhere. Awesome. They don't really have any weaknesses. And especially when it comes to their offense. One of those guys, it just takes one of those guys to be like, Kittle, it's going to be your week this week.
Yeah.
Debo, it's going to be your week this week. I'm not even seeing Ayuka on there. Right? It's just like they have so many weapons. It's just like, well, pick your poison, man. Do your best because it's not going to be good enough. And the fact that Purdy takes care of the football and he doesn't turn it over.
Yeah.
And he plays a very simple game, man.
He's good.
Yeah,
he's a smart quarterback, very solid. And this team, sky's the limit. Look out. If they stay healthy, holy crap, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat them. So, as I mentioned earlier, they host the Cardinals Sunday, late window, 125. And the Giants host the Seahawks. That's a Monday nighter. That's the late 5:15 kickoff Monday nighter, a week from tonight. So, speaking of the Monday nighters, the Eagles play the Bucks today, 4:15 Pacific kickoff, 7:15 Eastern. Both teams come in 2-0, expected to be so. The Eagles 2-0, Tampa not so much when Baker Mayfield took over for Tom Brady. Jalen Hurts is unfortunately 0-2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with terrible numbers against Tampa Bay. I expect him to sort of be able to turn it up tonight. The thing I'm kind of concerned about as an Eagles fan, their defense is not firing on all cylinders right now. They're allowing 325 yards a game. They've given up 7 touchdowns already in 2 games, and they're only getting 2 sacks a game. No pressure on the quarterbacks. I'm really kind of a little worried at this point. Maybe I'm overreacting 2 games in, but I think this game actually could be pretty close. Baker Mayfield having a resurgence with this season and way he started out, and this might be an entertaining game.
Yeah, I think it is going to be an entertaining game. I think you're right. I think it's going to be close. I still expect the Eagles to win, even though they haven't been that great against them recently, but I still expect them to win. But at least the Bucks have a little bit of hope, because in Baker we trust.
Yeah, I want you to say that every podcast throughout the whole year. Yeah.
Yes,
that should be your tagline from now on.
Yeah, and Baker we trust. Like, nobody would have ever thought, it's like, so we just lost Brady and then we get this guy. This should be good. No, man, it is good.
It's been good. Yeah. Amazing. I saw some stat today about Baker that just blew me away. He is first in the league when getting pressured. He's got 271 passing yards and 75% completion percentage and 0 picks and a passer rating of 117 when he's being pressured. So coming into this, I might not pressure him so much if I'm the Eagles defense. Just get back in coverage and shut him down that way. Yeah.
Well, if you got your stats saying that to you again, maybe lay off on the pressure and just like do the coverage and just stay at home and be responsible in that way.
Yeah. 2 guys that have been elevated from the practice roster onto the active roster that I'm excited about for the Eagles. Devin Allen, a speedster, is going to be their kick returner. He returned a kick 73 yards in the preseason that was just spectacular. I think he was running about like 23 miles an hour at his top speed. He is a former Olympian. He was on the U.S. Olympic team last two Olympics for the 110-meter hurdles. This guy is fast, acrobatic, athletic, just really, really cool that he's going to be activated. And I look forward to seeing some of the punt returns, kick returns today. And then also, speaking of punting, they're elevating Braden Mann to the roster. They've had some punting issues. He was good with the Jets last year. 47-yard punt average, 41 net. And yeah, I don't know why the Jets gave up on him, but I think this will be good for Eagles special teams, having both these guys elevated.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Especially with their punting concerns that they've had, that's a great guy to bring in. Yeah. And then for the excitement and entertainment, yeah, maybe they should have activated that guy sooner than now.
Yeah. Phillies, as I mentioned earlier, Phillies host the Commanders on Sunday, and Tampa goes to the New Orleans Saints, same time, early window on Sunday. Okay, now that's the East. Let's talk about the NFC West. We already covered the leader of the division on the Thursday night as the Niners beat the Giants, but let's talk about the Seahawks. Seahawks have had an up and down year so far, but yesterday there was a really good help from the 12th man. Carolina ended up getting 8 penalties for false start, 8 false start penalties, and that's typically from the crowd noise. You're not getting up to the ball in time and snapping it in time, and moving on the line. This is something that Seahawks fans take a lot of pride in, and for Carolina to endure 8 penalties for false start, that was huge. Loved seeing Kenneth Walker have a great game, Geno Smith, DK Metcalf. We got a touchdown from Jake Bobo, the undrafted guy, came in, finally got a touchdown. Zach Charbonnet, oh man, this team looked great. There was a few moments where I'm like, oh man, are they going to lose to the Carolina Panthers? But they ended up rolling up 37 points, winning 37-27. Big victory.
Yeah, big victory. They looked great. The 12th man, like, you've been to the Q West Stadium. You know how loud that place gets, awesome, man. So yeah. It is shocking, actually, how loud it can get. Correct. So I'm not surprised that they were having issues at the line, but it's like, what did you say? Dolphins, speak up. I can't hear you. Oh, snap the ball. Like, yeah, man. Like it would have been a nightmare. Would have been a nightmare to deal with, and obviously it was. And yeah, the Hawks were flying high and flying well, man. And Walker had a great game with the 18 carries, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then an additional 3 receptions for 59 yards. You forget that guy actually is a problem out of the backfield catching the football, and he proved that again in this game.
Yeah. Andy Dalton had a great game, threw for 360 yards, couple touchdowns, filling in for Bryce Young, who's out for a couple weeks, but just weren't able to get it done. Thielen looks good there. 11 catches, 145 yards and a touchdown. DJ Chark looks good there. Had a big touchdown. Miles Sanders. This team's going to be great. They just have some growing pains. Andy Dalton, the big veteran, good to have him as the backup behind Bryce Young. I think this is a very smart move on Carolina's part, but there's a lot of troubles with Carolina. They finished bottom of the league last year. This is a team working some things out, but I like seeing Andy Dalton there. That was a very smart move to have as a backup QB come in. He played great. He was not the reason why Carolina lost yesterday at all.
No, not at all, not whatsoever. But also too, it's great to have him as a veteran quarterback come in to give his knowledge, his advice to Bryce Young, right? Yeah. Also too, to steady him and say, hey, these are the things that are going to happen to you as a young quarterback. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Switching to we covered the Cardinals earlier in the NFC West. The only team we haven't covered in the NFC West is the Rams, and the Rams are playing tonight in Cincinnati. That's the 5:15, the later kickoff. That's a rematch of Super Bowl 56, won by the Rams 23-20 in February of 2022. So just not very long ago. That Super Bowl is always going to be, I'm always going to remember that Super Bowl for the greatest halftime show of all time. Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, 50 Cent, on and on. That will never be topped. And they just made an announcement that Usher is the new guy for the halftime of this upcoming Super Bowl in Vegas. Should be good. I think he'll probably bring a lot of friends as well. Will not ever top what we saw there in that Super Bowl with Cincinnati and LA.
No, man, that was so good. It was so good. It was legendary. Yeah. That's how good it was. Especially when you see 50 Cent come out, I'm like, man, he's been eating well. That is not 50 cents anymore. That's $1.25, buddy. Look at
that. Yeah, I know that was kind of shocking. I think he had sort of faded off, not in the spotlight for the last few years, and put on a few LBs, and we were all like, "Really? That's 50? Oh my god!"
Yeah.
And wasn't he hanging upside down? So then I'm like, well, maybe hanging upside down adds some weight, but no, it's just there. It's just it's just been added.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, man, no, he's been obviously very successful because just look at him. Look at him.
That vitamin water money has really opened up his.
He's been eating it well. He's been eating it well.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Okay, so the biggest thing I want to talk about tonight for the game is that Joe Burrow is still questionable with the calf injury. He's looked horrible in the first two games, and I don't know. I probably personally would sit him down, but I'm not sure. They haven't released if he's playing or not tonight or not for sure. Jake Browning is the backup quarterback. He would make his first career start if so. But what do you think we're going to see?
I think they should sit him.
Yeah.
Because that guy doesn't normally play that badly. So I think that calf injury is a little bit more severe than anybody thinks or knows, right? So I think just sit him down, man. You already paid him a ton of money. Yeah. So what? You've invested in Joe Burrow. Sit him down until he's healthy. That's what I would do.
Definitely, me too. Yeah, let's hope we get to see Jake Browning. Jared Stitt is activated from the practice roster to be the backup just in case. He's third string as of now, but we'll see how it goes down. Looking forward to this game. Should be fun. They'll show probably a lot of clips from that Super Bowl, and it should be a great night. The Rams go to Indy to play the Colts on Sunday, and Cincy goes to Tennessee. Both games are that early window, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern. Okay, NFC North now. We got the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, both at 2-1. Let's talk about the Packers. They ended up coming into this game injury riddled. I've got a list of six guys in front of me that were injured. David Bakhtiari, their left tackle, was out. Aaron Jones, their running back. Wide receiver Christian Watson, their linebacker Jair Alexander, their left guard Elgin Jenkins, and their safety Zane Anderson, all gone. So when I saw the Saints pile up 17 points and be dominating in this game, I was like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. You got basically a rookie quarterback in Jordan Love coming in, young guys that never seem to be able to put anything together with Aaron Rodgers. This was obvious. And then, bam, things changed. And Derek Carr gets hurt. He's out of the game. Jordan Love takes over and took this game. And amazingly enough, in the huge, storied history of the Green Bay Packers, he tied the greatest fourth quarter comeback in Packers history. Boy, coming back from 17 points down getting 18-17 victory and looking good doing so. Jordan Love looked great in this game, in that fourth quarter. And yeah, I really was worried about Packers with that many good guys out, and they were able to pull off the win, but probably only doing so because Carr was out of the game.
Yeah, they took advantage of that, obviously, right? But at the same time, Love showed incredible poise and confidence in himself and in his game. So it's the weirdest thing, but there's the possibility exists that the Packers could have hit the lottery again with this guy.
Yeah,
which is just that is just utterly insane if you really think about it.
Yeah,
Favre, Rodgers, Love? Question mark still, but it's a possibility. The guy's been playing great. And maybe there's something to be said about a guy waiting in the wings, learning what the offense is, learning from, well, it's super beneficial when it's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. But just a guy going through all of that and then finally saying, here's the keys to the car, buddy. Good luck, right? Yeah. Because he seems like he's more than ready to take on all of that, and he's been performing very well up to this point.
I don't think enough teams do that. I don't think enough teams draft a guy, bring him in, use him as a 3-4 year project and use him as a succession plan that far in the distance. Usually they, bring in a guy and sink or swim, buddy. And, we see just, many guys fail because they go into a terrible organization that's just got tons of problems, and the guy just isn't able to, raise the level of a bad team. And, luckily Love was able to be drafted. Lots of controversy because, people were like, hey, Aaron, why did they draft a quarterback? Like, don't they like you anymore? What's going on? And he had to hear that kind of thing for years after year. And, he goes and wins 2 MVPs, and this guy gets to watch that. And I saw a clip yesterday that showed Aaron Rodgers rolling out and throwing a ball. And I showed right after by Jordan Love rolling out in the same direction and throwing a ball. And the mechanics were identical. Like, wow, it looked unreal. It was like you were watching the same clip on repeat. It was unreal. And I don't know if Jordan Love had that same type of mechanics coming in, but right now he looks a lot like Aaron Rodgers when he is in certain situations. And then he has that athleticism that we saw on display when he scored the touchdown. He's mobile, and they probably did hit the lottery 3 times in a row, 18 years apart, boom, boom, boom. But I think the future is bright for them. He's making a lot of these rookie young receivers look a lot better than Aaron Rodgers did last year, and that's saying something to me.
No, that's saying a ton. That's saying a ton because he has confidence in his guys, and his guys clearly have confidence in him. Yeah. And he's performing. He's performing well, and obviously the big difference between him and Rodgers is his athletic talent that he also has running the football. So I think the sky's the limit for the kid, and all he's got to do is just keep doing what he's doing. It's going to be great.
Luckily, Derek Carr's injury isn't as serious as initially thought. They said he has a sprained AC joint in his shoulder. There was talk maybe that was, going to end his season, but they say they're giving him a few weeks now to recover. Luckily, they are seriously missing Alvin Kamara. Luckily, he came off that suspended list today. He'll add a lot to them. Jameis Winston his numbers looked okay, but he just didn't look that great when I saw him play. And I'm wondering what's happened to him. He's fallen off the map in the last couple seasons. This is a guy that was a pretty damn amazing quarterback about 3-4 years ago. But I don't know. This is going to harm the Saints, losing this game, and losing Derek Carr for a couple weeks. He's looked great since he's been there, but tough thing for them to go through. Hopefully he doesn't have to miss too much time.
So what do you think? Like, if Winston's not the answer, do you go with Taysom Hill?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, because
Maybe.
honestly, I would think, why not? Give
Yeah.
it a shot.
Yeah.
Give him a first half of for the next week and just see what he can do, because he can literally kind of do everything, do anything on the football field. So I would give it a shot.
I love Taysom Hill. I think he's one of the most exciting players in the NFL, and I love when they put him in there, and they've been doing that for years, and he's looked great in many situations, and I think he could do the job. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly. You have him there. You have this asset, this amazing talent. So why don't you utilize him more? Use him.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah. Okay, so Green Bay hosts the Lions. That's Thursday night football. That'll be a great game. I'm looking forward to that. Those two teams are exciting young teams. And then New Orleans hosts Tampa, early window Sunday. Speaking of the Lions, they hosted your Atlanta Falcons, and they were dominant on defense, and that's not something we've ever can say about the Detroit Lions. I don't think in my life I've ever uttered those words, but this was a great defensive performance. They sacked Desmond Ritter 7 times and just shut down the Falcons, who were coming in 2-0, got brought back down to earth by just an unbelievable performance. Somehow they were able to shut down Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier had 7 rushes for 12 yards. Wow. I don't know how Dan Campbell and this organization has been able to, fix this defense, but man, they sure had a great performance on Sunday.
They did. And they knew the keys to victory for this. Shut down the Falcons' running attack, you're going to beat this team.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. They shut down their running attack, and they really had no more answers for them. No. At least if I had to do a positive for my team, the Falcons, at least Ritter doesn't turn over the ball.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I'll say that. He's actually very responsible with the ball. The fact that I don't believe he even fumbled the ball, even though he was getting sacked all the time, and just oh my God, they're coming at me again. So yeah, I'll give him that. And that's about it, because it got destroyed.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is he had 200 yards passing, but they only had 139 yards net because of so many sacks and so many negative running plays. It was 139 yards out of 200. Oh my God. That's crazy. They really were able to stuff them. Their running attack looked phenomenal those first 2 weeks coming out, and I thought, holy crap, this team's going to be good as long as Ritter keeps not turning over the ball. I think this team can really have a great season. But Detroit shut them down. Goff was good, had a great game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I like this guy. He's fun, very, very fun receiver to watch. 100 yards through the air. Great to see Sam Laporta get his first career touchdown, and Jahmyr Gibbs. A couple of really good rookies that they brought in on offense there. Both those guys contributed. And who else? Aiden Hutchinson, 2 sacks, great game. Really good defensive effort. Their safety had 11 tackles. A lot of really good performances on defense, and Detroit, I think, we've said this, they're an up-and-coming team, and look out, 2-1 start to the year. I think they're going to challenge the Packers. I think the Lions and Packers are going to go back and forth this whole year, and I think it's going to be a really big dogfight for that NFC North title.
Yeah, man, because Lions have come a long way. Dan Campbell cries a lot less now, and then that's what brings me joy.
Yeah, good point. That's definitely true. No more tears for Dan Campbell, let's hope.
Yes, absolutely.
As I mentioned earlier, Detroit goes to Green Bay Thursday nighter, and Atlanta goes to Jacksonville, and that's the first European game. This is in Wembley Stadium, 6:30 a.m. Pacific kickoff, 9:30 on the East Coast. Jacksonville actually plays back-to-back games in London, and it's the first time any team has actually stayed over there and played back-to-back games. So I think that's something that they're trying this year, and I think that we will see eventually. I think they will expand eventually to Europe, and I think they'll put some teams, maybe play some back-to-back weeks over there, two weeks at a time. And so I can see this being an experiment that they'll try probably a few more times, and then eventually I think expansion there and other places, hopefully Canada, Mexico, places like that. We'll see it work. But we'll see how this experiment is. These guys are going to hang around London for the week after the game.
No, I think that's fantastic. And it makes a lot of sense scheduling wise, and for the teams and for the players, especially. Like, because of the jet lag and stuff, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I heard this though on another podcast, the potential that they're actually on the cusp of making these planes that fly so fast that you can make the trip across the Atlantic Ocean in like 3 hours.
Holy crap! Really? Wow.
So if that is a thing, and if like the safety concerns and everything about the planes are like finished and verified and all that sort of stuff, that's a real possibility.
Jeez,
you could definitely extend the game out to now European countries if it's going to be that quick a turnaround.
Yeah. I guess they're talking like from the East Coast, like 3 hours.
East Coast.
So 8 hours from here, but from New York to Europe, 3 hours. Man, I hope that happens. That would be incredible. That would just change the world, really.
Yes, it would. And so the idea of them even doing this and knowing that technology is kind of coming now around the corner, where you're like, oh no, this can actually happen. It's not going to happen right away, obviously, but for the future, looking forward ahead in like 5, 7, 8, 10 years. Yeah, amazing. Definitely a possibility.
Wow. Yeah, I wonder how fast the Concorde did it. I know that was always touted as the fastest to come across it, but I don't remember ever hearing. Well, I probably heard it, but I don't remember what what timeline that was. But yeah, cool. Safety, as we mentioned earlier about planes. The Steelers having to ground their plane. Notwithstanding 3 hours, I'd be jumping aboard and going to Europe all the time if I lived on the East Coast.
Yeah, man, of course, and especially if I have their money. All the time. All the
time. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so NFC North, we talked about the Packers and Lions both being 2-1. Now we go to the other side of the coin, Vikings and Bears 0-3. Vikings 0-3 after a 13-4 season last year, but they had 11 one-score victories, and everybody thought they're going to come back down to the pack, but not this much down. Unfortunately, there's a really good Netflix show that I started watching. I think last week was my first time I started watching it. It's the show called Quarterback. It's done by Peyton Manning's production series, and it's following this first season is following. It followed Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota. Really highly recommended, Jason. Check it out. Loved it. The cool thing was Mahomes ended up having a great year running and getting the Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins 13-4, great year, made the playoffs, and then Marcus Mariota flamed out and got replaced by Desmond Ridder. And so it's kind of good to see the top and not the bottom, but a guy that doesn't make a go of it, but see the trials and tribulations and everything in their lives. Unprecedented access. Really cool show that I loved, and you should give it a chance.
Oh, definitely. I'll definitely give that a chance, because it seems that lately anything that the Mannings do, gold.
Yeah,
it's just pure gold.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to mention about the Mannings, I didn't notice this before. I don't know why I didn't. They dress alike. There's almost like they're stepbrothers, like from the movie Step Brothers.
They should do a spoof on that. Yeah, I love Step Brothers is one of my favorite movies of all time. So they dress alike too. That's not something that I noticed yet, but
they do.
Yeah. They seem to be really good buddies, and it's fun to
Yes.
watch them. Everything they do is gold, and I love everything that definitely that Peyton's done, and Eli's great too. I didn't realize Eli was had such a personality in New York. He seemed very shy and sort of a country boy type of an attitude, but yeah, it's been fun. Those guys are great, and they've contributed so much since they've been retired.
Oh yeah, no man, they're fantastic. They're great. And it's cool to see more of Eli's personality because he's actually pretty funny. Pretty funny actually.
Yeah. Yeah, they are very funny. Both of them got great sense of humor, and I like their brother too. I watched their brother, Cooper, on I think it's CBS. He does the morning show, NFL Today, as they're heading towards kickoff Sunday mornings, and he has some really good segments. I like him. He's funny. He's got a good personality too. So, okay. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about the Vikings. They played the Chargers, and this was one of my favorite games of the weekend. It reminded me of that Chargers-Dolphins game that kicked off the season. Shootout, 950 total yards between the two teams. Both teams had 475 total yards, and it was a great game. I mentioned off the top that Brandon Staley almost screwed this up and went for it on fourth down at his own 24-yard line. Chargers defense ended up stepping up and getting that pick in the end zone to end the Vikings' chances. But this was one of those back and forth shootouts that you love to see, and it's fun to watch. And Chargers ended up coming out on the end of 28-24 victory. Did you enjoy this one as much as I did?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it because of the mere fact that sometimes I feel really bad for Herbert. Where it's just like, Staley, you're so lucky that I'm me. Because like if I wasn't me, man, don't know if you still have your job. But the dude missed 7 passes.
Yeah.
That's it. 40 of 47. He missed 7. Like that's what.
Yeah, 47. 40 of 47. Those are amazing numbers.
Amazing numbers, right? 405 yards. And then the other amazing one was Keenan Allen, 18 receptions for 215 yards. Like if you were that cornerback that unfortunately had to guard Keenan, you're just like, why is the ball always in your hands? Like, always. Yeah. Like the whole game, man. So I hats off to the Chargers. Hard fought win. But Vikings still represented well. Jefferson, 7 receptions, 149 yards, 1 touchdown. He actually scared me for a second there. I thought he had gotten super injured because he took an awkward step at one point.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no. Because if that guy goes down, sorry, Vikes. That's game over.
Season over. Yeah.
Game
over. Yeah. Yeah, they. I love that the Vikes got Hawkinson. That's been a great pickup. These two young guys, Madison and Addison, have been great. Alexander Madison had a good game, but yeah, I mean, the straw that stirs the drink there is Justin Jefferson. He's phenomenal talent and amazing. But Keenan Allen had one of the best games in history. To be able to get 18 catches and 25 yards. He's only the second player in NFL history to have those kind of numbers and throw a touchdown over 40 yards. Guess who the other guy is?
Ooh. Jerry Rice?
You're right. Yeah. The GOAT, the greatest of all time receiver, Jerry Rice. Yeah. So, elite company to be in any type of conversation and on any kind of record with Jerry Rice. That's pretty awesome that he could catch 18 balls and throw a 49-yard touchdown. Like, Jesus, that's amazing. And Herbert was like, hey, I got somebody else to throw the ball. I had to throw 47 times. Hey, we might as well give Keenan a chance. And he throws a 50-yard pass, a touchdown pass. That's pretty amazing. The Chargers are fun to watch. Brandon Staley's going to screw this up. I kind of feel like it's going to inevitably happen, but love watching Herbert, love watching Keenan Allen. Mike Williams' loss is going to be huge, but hopefully some of these younger guys will step up in his absence, and they'll be able to keep on. Eckler comes back from injury, and they can plug some holes in this leaky defense, but they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they're absolutely excellent team to watch. They're fun to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this team and hopefully less injuries.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Yeah. Vikes made a big trade on during the week, and they picked up Cam Akers from the LA Rams, trying to plug a hole that Dalvin Cook has left for them. That should go a long way. That was a smart move on their part, and we'll see how it turns things around. Minnesota goes to Carolina Sunday early window, and the Chargers host the Las Vegas Raiders. That's the 105 Sunday window for a divisional matchup there. Okay, the last team in the division now, the Chicago Bears. They just got absolutely crushed by the Kansas City Chiefs. Bears went through a really tough week, and Justin Fields took a lot of flack because he kind of blamed his coaches on his poor start. And it kind of came down to this. I watched the press conference, and I watched his comments after and stuff, and he was kind of trying to say that it was paralysis through analysis, and I was trying to say that off the top of this podcast, where I'm always worried about missing out on certain things and not being able to include all the world of sports into our podcast. And Justin Fields was basically saying this, that he felt robotic when he was on the field. He had too much in his head, and he was not sure what to do now. And he didn't act sort of just with instinct on his natural kind of football sense.
Yeah.
And it was twisted to make him look like he was throwing his coaches under the bus, and it was crappy that happened to. One of his coaches had to resign under some very brutal circumstances, and they're a mess there. They're the worst team in football last year. They're an absolute mess there. Their coaching sucks. It sucks. And he didn't mean to throw them under the bus, but he was like, I'm standing in the pocket, and I'm thinking, oh, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I do this? Did I do that? And all of a sudden, bam, I'm sacked. Oh, shit. And so they went through a very brutal week. And this wasn't, a shock that the best team in football that won the Super Bowl and the worst team in football played against each other. This was a blowout. But I felt a little bad for Justin Fields, and I knew what he was trying to say. Unfortunately, the words didn't come out right.
Yeah, and that happens all the time, especially when you're frustrated and flustered and you're just trying to figure out, okay, what comes next. What I also took it, like his words, different perspective, was that analytics are getting in the way of me just taking the game as I should.
Right.
That's what I kind of thought too as well. Like, where it's like, I'm getting too many of these analytics guys saying, well, if you do this, like sometimes that's just white noise after a while. Like it's too much. I don't need to know that shit. Like, I just need to simplify the game.
Yeah. And
I think they're making the game way too complex for the young man right now. Yeah. Right? He's got God-given talents that you just should be able to use. Those legs are not going anywhere. No. So use that. Make the game simpler for him, right? Like, and they're not doing that for him whatsoever.
No.
But at the same time, they had to play the Chiefs. But more importantly, Darren, they were playing against Swifties. They were playing against Swifties. They had no chance.
They had no chance. Yeah, no. I know. Oh man, is that ever getting a lot of media attention? Everything around Taylor Swift gets a ton of attention. I know Travis Kelce is a famous guy, but his elevation of fame has just reached a new level. I don't think any Taylor Swift fans knew who Travis Kelce was like 3 weeks ago. I don't think they would have ever said that. I don't even know if Taylor Swift has ever watched an entire football game in her life. But this has just created such a massive media firestorm. And this is good for the NFL. This is good for the Chiefs. This is good for a lot of things. And I don't understand anybody that's saying it's negative. I think it's a great thing, and good on Taylor, good on Travis, and hopefully this works out for them. She's had numerous relationships. They've all failed, and they've all ended up in songs. And there's been a lot of controversy. But maybe instead of always going with musicians and the guy she's went with, an athlete will be the perfect guy. Travis Kelce, love him, best tight end in the game. One of the best personalities, and this might be a fit. She seemed to just be hanging out with his mom already, and it was hilarious. After this game got out of control, they just kept showing her every single chance they could get, because they didn't want people to tune out of this game because it was a blowout big time.
Yeah, man. Like, and also too, even if I'm the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm like, genius. You know how much more money we're gonna get now? I'm not pissed with Travis. I'm like, keep that up. Can anybody bring in more people like that? And you guys, who's single, right?
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, brilliant marketing plan. Holy cow.
Making money. And I loved how Mahomes took it too. He had some comments and he said, Swifties and all that sort of stuff. Because end of the day, the team is so good, they're not going to be shaken by something like that.
No, that's true.
Not at all, right? Like, I even saw the Instagram post where people kept looking up and say, so now the coaches are looking up and going, oh man, is that Taylor Swift on it, right? Yeah. But the team is organized. They're so good that they're not ever going to be affected by something like that.
No.
Very minimal for them. Super minimal.
Taylor Swift has become such a huge, idol, just a massive figure in the music industry, and cities are clamoring for her to come to perform concerts there. I know almost every city that wasn't included on the list of her tour were like, hey, please come here, because she brings in a financial windfall for that city and just absolutely makes it a place to be. And you'll have people traveling from miles and miles around to come into your city to take in a Taylor Swift show. And she's, one of the biggest stars on the planet currently. And yeah, this is massive for Kansas City. It's going to be weird walking around and seeing little girls wearing Kansas City Chiefs gear. I'm going to be shocked by that, but it's going to happen if this relationship continues. It inevitably probably will fail, but for now, it's been pretty good for everybody.
Yeah. For now, like I would, if I was an owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, I'd have a personal talk. Travis, I go, try to make this one last as long as you can, buddy. All right. Just do it for me. Do it for me.
Yeah, no kidding. And the thing that's tough about a professional athlete like these guys is that typically they're making, hundreds, if not millions of times more money than their spouse, than their girlfriend. And, they're the ones that are the breadwinner in the relationship. And this isn't the case here. Taylor Swift's probably richer than Travis Kelce.
Way richer.
And so, he's not going to have to put his credit card down every time for a meal, for a night out. It's, going to be just shared quite well by Taylor Swift.
No, like if he plays his cards right, it's like, no, man, I'm the trophy husband. I don't do nothing anymore.
Yeah. I think that's your ultimate goal, isn't it, in life?
Yeah, of course it is. And if it isn't everybody else, any other else, like it has to be every man's goal in life. Because if you can just be that guy who's like, so what did you do today? It's like, I just got at the pool, caught some days. Soccer.
Trophy husband. Yeah, that's probably a lot of guys lining up to be that.
Oh yeah, no, that's the right thing to do. It's the right play.
Yeah. This displayed a bit of Kansas City's superiority. Patrick Mahomes only had to play 3 quarters. and put up the numbers he did. 3 touchdowns, 272 yards. Blaine Gabbert came in. Okay, Blaine Gabbert, a long time backup, 5 passes, 2 incompletions, both picks. So who's showing who's the best? Blaine Gabbert, good guy, been around a long time, but threw 2 picks in only 5 attempts. Like not definitely a step down in production when you got Blaine Gabbert in there, but they didn't need Mahomes, didn't put him through any unnecessary risk. So this was a easy win for the Chiefs, and on to the Jets for the Sunday nighter next game.
Ooh, that should be a good game, actually, because if there's one thing about the Jets is they got good defense.
Yeah.
So then that usually keeps them in the games.
Keeps them close, yeah.
Close.
The Bears host the Broncos, so 2 teams that got absolutely shit kicked get to play each other, and somebody's going to come out winner, I think.
Or you know what it could be? Tie. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Let's hope.
I'm hoping.
Okay, we've covered the NFC South. Bucks are leading 2-0 coming into their game tonight. Falcons lost; they're 2-1 now. Saints are 2-1, and the Panthers are 0-3. So let's turn to the AFC. And let's touch on that Dolphins performance. They were awesome. Like, this is the greatest show on turf, part 2, even better than what we saw those old Rams teams. This was so amazing to see. 10 touchdowns, both running backs getting 4 touchdowns each. And Jalen Waddle wasn't even in this game. And they could have tied or beat the all-time scoring record. And McDaniel said, hey, no, we'll kneel. We don't care. This was enough of a beatdown. We'll be sportsmanlike. And 70-20 this game was. Everybody that I texted and I sent, did you see the score? Send me back. What the hell? Oh my God. Is this real? Holy cow. Like 70 points. We haven't seen that since the Bears in 1940. We haven't seen these kinds of numbers since 1966. Just unbelievable. Over 700 yards. Just this team is awesome to watch. And if they can stay healthy, it's going to be so fun of a year to be able to cover this team and follow them. What a juggernaut they put together.
Yeah, absolute juggernaut. Like the Dolphins, when it comes to their offense now, they got as many weapons as the 49ers do.
Yeah.
But like it's comparable. They have as many weapons as the 49ers do, and they know how to spread it out. They know how to get their guys out in space so they can do their damage. And even the one dude, Achane, did I even say his name right?
He went out today and he said, I want you to pronounce my name, Devon Achane. Devon
Achane.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank goodness for that clarification. So Achane comes out of nowhere. I don't know who this dude is. And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I was always waiting in the wings, waiting for my 4 touchdown day. Like it's like, oh, cool. That's great. Because now, as for like other NFL defenses, they're gonna have to scheme for this dude that they didn't know existed until now. It's like, oh, okay, that's another problem. That's great. Cool. Right on. It was just an amazing performance. And Tua is looking fantastic right now.
Yeah.
23 of 26, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like you just go on and on. Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to stop because there was just way too many touchdowns.
Yeah.
Everybody got touchdowns.
Yeah, to get 10 touchdowns is just phenomenal. We don't see this in the NFL ever, and it's just incredible. I went on and on last week when I did the solo podcast about Raheem Mostert. What a pickup that was from the Niners, and I thought, holy shit, like to be able to get a guy like that with the Dolphins and the speed and everything. When Christian McCaffrey came in, they were like, "Oh, well, we guess he's redundant." But man, like what a huge pickup. Okay, I heard a stat that said out of the 6 fastest recorded runs this year, all 6 are Dolphin players. 4 different players out of the top 6 most fastest running that were recorded this year were Dolphins. And it's just unreal how they've been able to create this team. And I love it because we always talk about when a team has success, that's a copycat league and other teams are going to want that. I talked about the guy that's going to be for the Eagles tonight returning kicks, speed kills, and you get that speed in space. It's just boom, a guy's gone. You can't get him. Touchdown. It's fun to watch. Football is exciting when a guy can get going 22 to 24 miles an hour. It is awesome. And this team is stacked. And when Tua went down last year, it was really tough on Miami Dolphins fans because they saw the potential of this team. And if he can stay healthy, holy crap, they could outscore every problem they got on defense and dominate every team they play.
Yeah, man. And I felt bad for the Broncos, actually, when you look at it, because you look at Wilson's numbers, you're like, I guess that's not bad. Like, he actually had a good game, but it didn't matter because you got utterly destroyed. And that's probably one of his best games he's had as a Bronco to date.
Yeah.
And that was the result.
Yeah.
Oh, way to go.
So could the Broncos players have already quit on Sean Payton 3 games into his tenure there? Did they look like they quit? They were not even trying to tackle. It didn't look like. I saw just an utter just give up. They just gave up. And you kind of think that when a team gives up, they're giving up on their coach, not just on themselves. But could they have given up on him 3 games into his tenure?
I'm gonna go with no. I think that's a one-off where they're just like, we're just getting absolutely freaking hammered. And I get it. They fell into a frustrated despair sort of state.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, when you're in that state, you're not playing to your highest level anymore. You're not even freaking close, right? So, and that's what happens when you just get shellacked by 50.
Yeah.
That's what happens. But it's like, it doesn't seem like anything we do matters because they're just going to do something else and score. And that's what happened. It's just like, okay, so we're going to try this defense. I think this is going to score. Like, after a while, you're just like, all right, man, is this game almost over? I want to go home.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try to look for a prop and see if I can place this bet. But do you think the Dolphins will set the single season NFL scoring record this year?
What is the scoring record?
The scoring record was done by Peyton Manning's Broncos in 2013, 606 points total for the season. Yeah. Okay. Make a guess and I'll tell you a few more stats.
So a guess for how many points the Dolphins could have?
No, just if they'll beat the record.
If they'll beat the record? Yes.
So I said it was 606 points. They're on pace for 737. There's going to be some people that say, hey, there's 17 game season.
Yeah.
Old, records were 16, even 15 back and back. But 16 game season by the Broncos with Manning. Okay. But on this pace, they would break it after their 15th game. So there wouldn't be an asterisk there if they continue this kind of a pace. There are just crazy amount of stats that came out yesterday. No team in league history had ever scored 70 points and put up 700 yards of offense in the same game. No pair of teammates ever had ever had 4 touchdowns and 140 scrimmage yards each in the same game. 130 points in their first 3 games. The only team ever to score more in their first 3 games was the 1968 Cowboys, who had 132. What else? 9 short of the single season NFL record with 726 yards of offense. There was 735 as the Rams piled up on the Yanks in 1951. And the Yanks, I don't know if they had Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, but unbelievable. The only team that has ever scored more touchdowns in a game was the 1940 Bears, who scored 11 in the game that was 73-0 in the championship game against Washington. But 1940 and 1966, we haven't seen a team pile up 70 points. Just crazy, unbelievable game yesterday, and so fun to watch. I'm gonna watch it again this week just to be so entertained by offensive football. I've always loved offensive football. I'm a fan of the Chargers, and they've always been that way. Not a great defense, always piling up offense, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to see this team assembled and firing on all cylinders like this.
Yeah, and then this is the Mike McDaniels. I'm pretty sure that mad scientist of a head coach. This is like, oh, this is what I actually had in my head how this should work, and works a little bit better than I thought. Good.
Yeah, pretty incredible, pretty fun to see, and I hope it continues. Let's hope everybody stays healthy and we can keep it going. Dolphins are the only undefeated team in the AFC left, and the only undefeated team that ended up winning the Super Bowl are the 72 Dolphins. So do the Dolphins players still crack that champagne and drink it, even though the Dolphins don't break it if they do lose a game? This team probably won't go undefeated, but they might be one of the most fun teams that's ever existed.
Yeah, I would say so. As long as health, the main players stay healthy, then yes. Yeah, this is going to be a fun team to watch for the rest of the season.
Okay, let's shift to the Bills. We did mention the Bills earlier. We talked about that. Let's talk about the other AFC East matchup between the Patriots and the Jets. Not a fantastic game, but 15 straight wins in this matchup for the Patriots over the Jets. I would have bet a lot of money that New England was be able to pull this off. Dead man walking, Zach Wilson. Really brutal. Second overall pick that's been one of the biggest busts in NFL history. And there's a lot of rumors today that Kirk Cousins is going to be highly sought after to take over for Zach Wilson. Kirk didn't get a long-term extension, is only on a 1-year deal in Minnesota, and tons of rumors that they're going to make a trade and bring him over to take over for Zach and help this team because they got that vaunted defense. They just need a decent quarterback, not somebody that's Zach Wilson, who's horrific right now and has been his entire career.
Yeah, because like sometimes you just have to look at a body of work and just be like, oh no, this is who he is now.
Yeah,
this is not actually getting any better. Now with the Vikings, just trade away Cousins like that and be like, okay, I guess we're done. Our season's over. Because if they do that, they got no chance.
No chance.
It's done.
Well,
would they do a straight trade for Zach? Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's like depending on what the Jets can offer, and you lose them for nothing. Maybe you make that deal when they're 0-3. They lose another game or two, they're done.
They're done.
They're done.
They're going to be done. True.
I think I saw a stat: 261 teams have went 0-3, and only 5 have made the playoffs since. I don't remember the year, but 261 teams, 5 have made the playoffs after starting 0-3. So the percentage is brutal. It's
Okay.
brutal, you know.
Yeah.
In a 16-game season, those are the kind of numbers we're seeing. 17-game season, it might change a little bit, but you know, you start 0-4, just forget the playoffs. You're done. You're history. You're not
Yeah,
making them. So it's you know, there to blow up the whole entire year, it seems pretty ridiculous. And you know, I would think they're gonna try to do whatever they can to bring in somebody. Zach Wilson, I got some stats in front of me here. His career, among the 34 quarterbacks that have had more than 500 passing attempts since 2021, he's last in completion percentage. He's second last in passing yards per attempt. He's third last in passing yardage per game. He's dead last in touchdowns and interceptions thrown and passer rating. Dead last in 3 of these categories and second and third last in the other 2. Like brutal. You can't subject this amazing defense that you put together with an offense that's this bad. You're not going to be able to win the games that you should be with a defense like this. You just need somebody half decent. And Zach Wilson is not that guy. He hasn't proven to be that guy. And I just don't see him changing his spots. He is a cheetah, and he's going to be a cheetah. He's not going to change. And those numbers are pretty glaring, pretty bad.
Well, yeah, again, like just look at the numbers and be like, so do you honestly think you can win with this guy who's lasted everything? Like he's last.
Robert Saleh keeps saying so, but like nobody else believes it.
No, Robert, he's a loser. That's why you're losing. Yeah. Sorry, man. Like you need somebody else back there. There's a reason why you went out and got Aaron Rodgers. And it was really unfortunate. In 4 plays in, he tears his Achilles. And you're just like, oh, fun. That's great. Zach, you're in, I guess.
Brutal, yeah. Brutal. Really tough. I don't know. I think we're going to see something happen. Somebody's going to come in. Okay, let's fly through the rest of it. AFC West, we've covered it all. Chiefs are leading right now, 2-1. Raiders and Chargers are tied, 1 victory, 2 losses. Broncos, the rear, 0-3. I think they'll be, you know, the probably the worst team in the AFC this year. After that spanking, you know, it's only going to go better, but it's probably not going to lead to very many wins. It's going to be pretty tough. Steelers, we mentioned in that Sunday nighter a bit. Do you want to mention anything more about the Steelers-Raiders matchup from last night?
No, the only thing that I will mention is that at least the Raiders are doing the right thing. They're giving the ball to Devontae Adams because that's your best option at all times. And he had 13 receptions, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. When you give that guy the ball, he will always produce. So keep doing that.
Well, if Jimmy G's not there, let him be quarterback. Let him just
exactly.
Get the ball and take off. Yeah. And then throw it to himself a couple times. Yeah, let's try it. You know, there was a couple games during the COVID year where they had no quarterbacks, and you know, maybe let's try this out. See this? Just throw it up to myself and just run down the field and score touchdowns. Be fun to watch.
No, that would be the best thing ever because it's just like I know I have teammates. I just can't trust them, so I'm just gonna do everything.
So three teams at 2-1 in the AFC North. Steelers there, Ravens there, and the Browns there. Let's talk about the Ravens first of all. They fell to the Indianapolis Colts to 2-1. I don't really know what happened in this game, but they got, I don't know what the term is, gayified. Matt Gay got the NFL record for four 50-yard field goals, 53-yarder in overtime to get the victory. I don't know. Gayified. I don't know. I don't know what to say, but Matt Gay was the reason why the Colts pulled out this victory. And even though Anthony Richardson was hurt, Gardner Minshew came in and played great and was able to pull off a victory, beating Lamar Jackson. And I don't think a lot of people would have suspected that to be the case before this game started. Nice win for the Colts. Tough loss for the Ravens. What do you think about this one?
Yeah. I was actually impressed with Gardner Minshew, the way he came in, and then he stabilized that offense and got him a win. And obviously Matt Gay just being like a total legend, hitting, actually
Yeah.
outdueling the best kicker
Yeah.
ever.
Tucker. Yeah. Incredible.
Like literally outdueling him and being like, I've heard about you, Tucker. But now you've heard about me because I'm Matt Gay. This is what I do.
Yeah. Nice. Hey, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
Rivalry between kickers.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool, man. Like, and Lamar Jackson, he was good. You know, like he 202 yards, 14 carries for 101 yards. And what you were saying before when it comes to like speed, like with the Dolphins, sometimes I watch Lamar Jackson, I'm just like, I can't believe how fast and how shifty he is.
Yeah.
Like where you're just like, you're like a video game, buddy. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Incredible.
I'm not putting that loss on Lamar. I think he did what he could do. He did his best. But yeah, Matt Gay coming up big.
Yeah.
Like it's like just, and when he hit those field goals, every single one of them right down the pipe.
Yeah.
Straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Tucker missed a really long one just at end of regulation that would have given the Ravens the victory, but just felt like a yard short kind of a thing.
Yes.
And, but then went back and forth in overtime, a few possessions each, and then Gay stepped up, got the amazing field goal, and against the best that plays. So good on him, and nice victory by the Colts there. Ravens go to Cleveland, and the Colts go to the Rams. Speaking of Cleveland, they are 2-1 now, and Deshaun Watson was great. They absolutely shut down the Titans, just shut them down. Like, I'm pretty impressed with Cleveland's defense. Myles Garrett is an absolute killer beast, and these guys, Deshaun doesn't have to be spectacular this year, just has to play pretty decent, and this team's going to be good with that kind of a defense. Yeah,
definitely, man. Like Deshaun actually was good in this game. 289 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 7 receptions, 116 yards and a touchdown. The Titans are not good. This just in, the Titans are not very good. Tannehill, this is pathetic. 13 of 25 for 104 yards. Henry, since they knew that they couldn't pass on them, they said, we're just going to load up on a run defense and you'll have nowhere to run. 11 carries for 20 yards.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just, all right. I'm done.
Yeah. Unbelievable. They ended up with a total of 94 total yards in this game, 68 passing yards after getting sacked 5 times, 26 total rushing yards. Derrick Henry, like, tough guy to bring down, and he just had zero ability to get anything going. And holy cow, they only had 20 minutes possession time, and Titans looked terrible, very, very bad. I don't know, Tannehill, they got to make a change there and find somebody better, because this was just an absolute shit kicking.
Yeah, man. They need to draft a quarterback. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious now. They need to draft a quarterback or get a quarterback, something.
Yeah. The team that's in the rear, this is kind of crazy. 3-2-1 teams in the NFC North, and it's not the Bengals. 0-2, but they're playing tonight, as we mentioned, LA Rams. So maybe they'll get off to Schneid and get the victory. AFC South, the only game we got to talk about is the Houston Jaguars game. CJ Stroud, first quarterback in NFL history with 900 passing yards, 4 TDs, and no picks in his first 3 NFL games. Also, the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to have over 900 yards passing in those first 3 games, joining Cam Newton, had just over 1,000, and Justin Herbert, who had 931 in the first 3 games. After winning that last game of the season last year against the Indy Colts and giving the Bears the number 1 overall pick, they fell to number 2, and so they ended up having to draft CJ Stroud, and I think they're pretty damn happy that ended up happening to them. He came out of Ohio State, and holy crap, has he looked good in his first 3 games. And Houston's finally maybe got a team that can go places. And this was an impressive win against Jacksonville, who was everybody's pick to win this division, hands down. And they put a good beating on them. And this was impressive victory for Houston.
Yeah, they like everybody thought that the Jags would win this game pretty handily.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah.
And the Texans came out and thumped them. They thumped them.
Yeah.
And I think the receiver Dell, is he also a rookie?
Tank Dell. Yeah, I love
Tank
this
Dell.
kid. Yeah.
And he was he was awesome. 5 receptions, 145 yards and a touchdown. Like, Texans now have pieces to build around. They have what I'd like to call hope.
Yeah, finally.
They have hope. Finally. After so many years of just awfulness, they have hope.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, incredible to see, and good on them. I'm glad they've turned this thing around. They host the Steelers Sunday in the morning, and then I said Jags do the London thing, 6:30 a.m. So set your PVRs. I don't want to have everybody getting up that early like me, but NFL story for week 3, and 2 games tonight will end week 3 heading forward. Okay, let's go to Vegas. UFC Vegas 79. UFC Vegas 79 from the Apex. I hate the Apex. Get the hell out of the Apex. But this was a 17th straight Saturday. The UFC has had a card. No card next weekend. So 17 straight. This main event was something that I was anticipating like crazy. A perfect striker versus grappler matchup that will really decide one of the next contenders at the top of the division. And then, bam, we're hit with another big main event that just fizzled out because of a brutal knee injury. And, just hit me right in the heart. I was just getting really super stoked about this fight. And I was starting to really think, man, this is something that I really need to see. And bam, it's over. He throws a kick, somehow twists his knee, bam, ligaments torn, and he's gone. Mateus Gamrot ends up getting the victory. And tough that when you're anticipating something this much. I know it's way tougher for Fazeev, but for us too, we're so excited about this matchup, and it ends that way. It's pretty bad.
It sucked because like the first round was so good because like there was just it's so technical. Like and it was one of those fights where it's like that guy made a mistake, other guy would make him pay immediately.
Yeah.
And it went back and forth. It was tactical. It was awesome. And I'm looking at it going like, gee, okay. Like even Fiziev, his takedown defense, freaking amazing.
Amazing.
Everything.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think he actually leads the division in the best takedown defense.
It's like 90%.
Yeah, it's just amazing what he's been able to do, and a guy that is that good at takedowns to be able to stuff them like he did.
Yeah. So and then when that happened, at first I thought it was the leg that he threw with the kick. That's what he hurt. And then finally you see the one angle where you're like, oh, you see his knee just do something not right. Yeah. And it was like, so that sucked.
Yeah.
It took away from the main event that could have been unprecedentedly awesome, could have been one of the best fights of the year. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Maybe down the line at some point in time we see this fight again once Fiziev has recouped and recovered. Yeah. But he's not going to be fighting for quite some time. He's out of the picture for now.
He's out of the picture, and unfortunately, that was a tough way to end his great streak. And I love his team, Killcliff MMA, Henry Hoof there, and that was one of the best rounds of the year. And then to see it end that way, it's tough. And we're getting to see it's happening too often, and I don't know why, but as you mentioned. The hospital was filled with fighters after that fight. I've been to the hospital after some UFC events, and there's just a whole bunch of people in there. But yeah, you said you saw some pictures of him in there with majority of the card.
Yeah, he was in there, like, and then who did I see right away? Obviously, Bryce Mitchell was in there after, like, Ige basically tried to take one of his eyes home with him. Brutal. Yeah. And then Michelle Watterson Gomez made a bloody
that was a bad beatdown.
Oh,
that was scary. Yeah. So Gamrot took the mic and he called out Charles Oliveira. Obviously, Oliveira's got the big fight against Islam Makhachev, October 21st, UFC 294. He said Islam may be out of my league at this point because the UFC would put me up against him. You know, just where I am, because he was number 7 ranked. He's going to take over number 6, I guess, after this. So he said, you know, hey, Charles, I think he was basically saying Charles is going to lose to Islam. I'll take Charles next. So,
okay.
Yeah. So either way, he's got somebody tough, top 5 coming, and it should be great. Co-main event, I was so worried about this. I told you recently that I find this is a dark day in the history of the UFC. We're getting some really guys that I don't like as winning fights, as taking the mic, as becoming champions. We're possibly seeing Colby Covington a champion soon. And then Bryce Mitchell comes in, and I'm like, oh, please don't let him win. Please don't let him win. Please don't let him win. I do not want to hear him talk. I don't want him to spew out his Arkansas crap. And guess what? He is such a takedown artist that he was able to grind out this victory over Dan Ige. And he pulls out a Bible and starts spewing that Satan's taking over the world. And he needed to pray right then and there. And actually, Michael Bisping is taking a bunch of flack for not letting him pray. It's just ridiculous. Like, they shouldn't have allowed him to have the Bible in the octagon before the fight even started, and to have him start spewing the nonsense that he was spewing. It was disgusting, and I should have turned it off right then and there. I didn't, but you know, just another guy that shouldn't speak. He should fight and not speak, and then maybe he'd have a lot more credibility and fans. And it was a low moment for the UFC for me.
It seemed incredibly, like, I would have hated being Michael Bisping because it seemed incredibly awkward for him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, where he's just like, because eventually you just had to just take the mic and be like, yeah, okay, enough of this.
I'm out.
And, like, he did the right thing, by the way, by doing that.
Yeah.
He did absolutely the right thing. He's like, yeah, enough of your nonsense. We're done. Right? So I thought that was the way he handled it. I thought it was as good as it's going to get. Right? When you're dealing with somebody like that. Here's a problem that could happen. He's good enough that what if, you know, he's that good, because in the 3rd round when he was grappling with Ige, he did this crazy back take that even I was like, wow, wait, how did he do that? What was that? Like, he is a savant when it comes to his ground game. He's that good.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's that guy. I'm just gonna say it like that. He's that guy that you don't want him to talk that much.
No,
it'd be great if he didn't.
Yeah.
Like you said, man. But
if I want to hear somebody recite the Bible, I'll go to church on Sunday. I won't tune into fighting on Saturday night. You know, like there's a time and place, and that's not the spot. And great on him that he wants to contribute $5,000 to the fire relief efforts in Hawaii, and good on him. Ige looked uncomfortable, Bisping looked uncomfortable, and I was uncomfortable. I just didn't want him to talk at all. But to be suddenly spewing out that Satan's taking over the world and sit there and pray right now, like, it was just brutal. And come on, like, there's time and place, and that, to me, handing the Bible to him and allowing him to have it in the cage is a clear violation of every rule. You do not allow any foreign object in the cage once they've met the officials and they've went in, you know, there's a possibility that there could be a razor blade in a Bible. There could be some foreign substance on it. There could be many other things. Like, this opens up a can of worms that I do not want to open. And no foreign object should be allowed in the cage other than the fighters and the referee. That's it. You know, Jesus Christ, that annoyed me that this happened.
Do you remember when Bisping said during the fight where he goes, "Who is that guy in the first UFC 1 or 2 that came with the cross?"
Cross, yeah, Kimbo, yeah.
Yeah, so because that's his next move, by the way, UFC. That's the next thing that this dude is gonna do. He's gonna come in with the cross, and then now you're gonna have to lay down the law. I'm pretty sure that there had to have been a private conversation between him and his group, and said, "Yeah, by the way, that's the last time that's happening."
I hope so. Yeah,
like they just like that talk has to happen, because it's like there's certain things that we'll let go, but that's not happening anymore. No. That, I'm sorry, not happening anymore.
No.
Because I know what to do. If you want to push back on that, it's going to be quite some time until you have another fight then.
Yeah, go join the WWE. You know, I know these two teams have merged, but that's WWE crap. That's not mixed martial arts UFC stuff. So, enough on that, about that. You mentioned Michelle Waterson Gomez, who was in a rematch strawweight fight with Marina Rodriguez. Oof, man, like the rematch, the first fight wasn't like this, but this was an absolute beatdown bloodbath. Just Michelle was overmatched and just took a hell of a beating. I can't even believe she made it out of the first round and continued on. But wow, Rodriguez just really just put it on her, and Michelle's going to take a while to recover from that beatdown.
Oh yeah, man. Like, at first, the beginning of the fight looked really good for Michelle Waterson. Got the takedown real quick, got the fight to where she wanted it. But then the problem started once Rodriguez got back to her feet. And what Waterson unfortunately couldn't figure out, how to break that damn tie clinch. Yeah. Once Rodriguez put that tie clinch on her, knees, elbows, knees. Hello, man. She got tore up by those. Like consistently tore up, to the point that at the end of the first round, I'm like, okay, you know what? As you've said many times before, you know, the ref sometimes it's a quick stoppage. I'm like, I wouldn't feel that bad if he stopped it right now, though. I wouldn't. But he gave her all the chance in the world. Dominic Cruz loved it. He's just like, that's the way it should be. It was like, yeah, seeing this beautiful woman just get her face pummeled in. Yes, Dominic, that is the way it should be. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. But you know what? He gave her the opportunity to try to turn it around. I think most of us that are fans and really watch this sport go, yeah, she's not turning this one around. I'm sorry. That is not happening.
No. Yeah, no, I appreciated Kerry Hatley allowing it to go on, and you know, he gave her every chance in the world. She tried for another takedown in that second round, and then soon as it was reversed and Rodriguez got top control, mount, boom, she just
then that's when it stopped.
And then that was academic. She was done. But I mean, usually the referees are a little more hesitant to allow a woman to suffer that kind of beating than a guy. So usually they err on the other side of caution, and it's a little too early of a stoppage. But I would have been fine if that was stopped at any point near the end of that first round, because you could tell it was a mismatch on the feet, and Waterston was going to take unnecessary abuse, and you know, she's tough as nails and good on her, but geez, you know, she's going to take a while to recover, and we'll see where she turns from here. Rodriguez has asked for Tatiana Suarez, which I'm very excited for, and she gets $50K extra in her bank account because she got one of the performances of the night there. So good for her. Okay, let's go to the Butcher, the new nickname for Brian, the Butcher battle against AJ Fletcher. What'd you think of this one? Love battle. I really like his personality, and I like what he brings. And AJ Fletcher, it was it was tough because Fletcher had a 10-inch disadvantage on
Yeah,
the feet. And you're not even talking about the guy's legs. Like, this is going to be tough for any guy against such a tall opponent in Battle, and Battle ended up pulling out a really good win.
Okay, first off, I want to say this. Why did he change his nickname? Why did he do that? Because obviously his team got involved. It's like, I don't know, man. Maybe Pooh Bear, maybe not. But I was fine with it because I'm like, if that's your nickname, that's your nickname. Whatever, man. But I do like the Butch. Okay, that's over with. Yeah. Fletcher, I thought, had a great game plan. I thought his in and out was really good in the beginning.
Early,
and he hit with power all the time. Right? Even drop Battle with that short left elbow, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Yeah. I love the fact that Battle was calm and he wasn't rattled at any point in time in that fight.
No,
he was
very
just
cool.
like,
yeah.
He just
even
took
when he got dropped, he just went down and got back up
and just continued on with his game plan, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was great. He's clearly grown as a mixed martial artist in the UFC. Yeah. He's gotten so much better. And then finally, when he had his opportunity to take him out, and he did. He just took his time, got the back, rear naked choke, slowly sunk it in. It's almost like he was kind of rubbling the moment where it's like, I'm just gonna take my time here. Okay, there we go. Right?
Sure did.
Yeah. So he looked awesome against a very dangerous guy that actually had a lot of power.
Yeah, totally. You're right. Everything's bang on. Yeah. That was his 6th submission win. He said he's got the most wins in the Apex's history, counting his Ultimate Fighter performance. So he likes it there. I don't, but he does. He's won 10 of his last 11 and finished 9 of them. So the upward trajectory for him. And I love how confident he looks. I love how solid he is, and his length is always going to be an advantage in that division. So good for him to get the big victory. I love the kickoff for the main card with Charles Air Jourdain. I got a chance to talk to Charles when he was here in Vancouver for UFC 289, and it was great to see him come here even when he wasn't on the card. He made a bunch of appearances. He signed a lot of autographs, took a lot of pictures with people, and he is the youngest UFC fighter from Canada and the most experienced fighter from Canada right now. Most UFC fights. So great to see a Canadian come in and have another amazing, great performance. And this guy, I really think that he has a legitimate shot to be one of the elite fighters in the UFC and in this featherweight division.
Ramos is a jiu-jitsu specialist, and he guillotine choked him.
Yeah.
That tells me everything I need to know. He is that good.
He's great.
He is that good.
Yeah.
I thought at first, because Bisping kept saying, why does he keep doing that? Why does he keep going for it? Why? It's like, well, Michael, it's because he knows he can get it. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to tell you, buddy. That's why he keeps doing it.
Good point. Yeah. No, they were criticizing him. They said, he's going to burn out his arms. He keeps getting it. He's not in position quite yet. But he just kept maneuvering and changing and just sinking it in a little tighter and a little deeper, and then finally got it. Very nice to get him his 5th career submission victory. And I really like his personality. He was super fun to see here in Vancouver. And he's just got that fighter mentality and a great personality to match it. He called out Cub Swanson. I would love to see those two fight. He's asked for one of the veterans. He said one of the young guys against one of the veterans of the sport. And love it if that happens. It would be a great fight.
Well, that would be for me a no-brainer. Yeah. Make that fight happen immediately. Yeah. Action-packed. It would be awesome. Both of them are coming forward. Yeah, that's not a boring fight whatsoever. No. Great fight.
He got $50K for that. He got one of the bonuses. It was his 12th UFC fight at 27 years old. So impressive and great to see him going. The fight between Dan Argueta and Miles Johns in the bantamweight division that was the prelim feature fight was a hell of a good fight. I really loved seeing these two guys go about it. I thought Miles Johns looked so confident and so tough. Like he just seemed to just have this confidence about himself that I'm winning this fight. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm winning this fight. And when he finally landed big right hands and was able to just really show dynamite in his fists, it was, to me going to go his way. And sure enough, it did. I'm really impressed with Miles Johns.
Me too. Very impressed with him. I thought his timing and his counters were fantastic because he knew this. Argueta's just going to keep coming forward. Yeah. Forward. I'll give Argueta this. He was never deterred.
No.
That can be an incredibly frustrating thing for the fighter that's facing a guy like that, right? But Johns knew that. And he was just like, no, I knew that this was going to be that kind of fight. I just had to find my chances to hurt him with my counters, which is what he did. Yeah. So I thought it was a great fight. Great game plan for him.
Well, his nickname suits him perfectly. Do you know what Dan Argueta's nickname is?
Terminator? What? No, I don't know.
The Determined. The Determined.
Oh, the Determined. Oh, okay. All right.
Kind of a cool one. Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know that nickname, and then they said it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's pretty good because he really is determined, and he's definitely shown that in this fight, and obviously many others to be able to get that handle.
Yeah, man, and also too, like Argueta, one of his skills is using that incredible stamina to great effect. He uses that as a weapon. But Johns, he said that post-fight that he trained knowing that was going to be a thing, knowing that the guy's going to try to test his gas tank, and he was good throughout. Great win.
Yeah. Okay. Tim Means, Andre Fiallo, 50th fight for Tim Means and $50K for this incredible performance. This is a guy that, he doesn't look scary, doesn't look like you got to worry too much about him, but he is so experienced and so good. I'm blown away by him, and the Dirty Bird just keeps on going late into his 30s and beat a super tough guy in Andre Fiallo. And I loved seeing an old veteran like this get a big victory and show that the experience can really overcome a guy that's tough and incredibly skilled as well.
He technically took him apart. Like I saw one where he countered Fiallo with just a straight knee right up the gut, where you don't see that, where you're just like, that was his counter with the, like, I was amazed. I was like, dude still got it. He has every strike in the book, and he used them all to a great effect. And even when he took him out finally in that second round, then it was like body, head, body, like, and he's hitting him with everything to the point that Fiallo goes, I don't know what I'm getting hit with. Is that a knee time or was that an elbow? Nope, that was a punch. Then he was on fire. Means I love watching him fight, and he just reminded me why I love watching him fight.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, technically just incredible. Just his shots are so accurate, so crisp, and just coming from all different ways. Uses his entire arsenal. Love it. And it's like I said, great to see a guy that's that long in the tooth in his 50th fight getting a $50K bonus and continuing on, and lots of accolades and things coming from him. Last few days I've seen so many people say just love the Dirty Bird and hope he continues on for the next 4 or 5 years. It would be great to see. So okay. Jacob Malkoon, Cody Brundage. Oh man, another fight where you're like, oh God, are you kidding me? This is tough. What a crappy way to have it finish. you got to just feel gutted for Malkoun, because he was dominating, was going to easily win this fight, and was going to get his, his bonuses, and he was going to have a great, only have one loss on his record, and you're guys moving, and you're just raining down shots, trying to finish a fight. Yeah, he wasn't intentionally trying to hit him there, but he did.
Yeah.
And, I guess Brundage kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm not calling him that he faked it, but he used it as an out. He used it as an out, and I don't know, how much it hurt him.
But we don't know that.
Don't know. But it was just a tough way for this fight to end, when it seemed like Malkoun had this in the bag, was going to get the victory, and then one shot that hits the wrong spot, and it's over.
Yeah. It sucked. It's easy for us to sit here and be like, wow, obviously he took the easy way out and he got the win, right? But at the same time, if he was really thinking like that, so when the ref went to raise his arm, he would have raised it and like, yeah, but he went, man.
No, yeah.
So that's why I'm like, well, maybe then he was actually super, like, couldn't really continue, or knew that if he did continue, he would be super compromised.
Yeah.
And he just would have lost anyways, right? So I sucks. It happens.
Yeah.
Whatever. And also, too, looking at Brundage, looking at his record, you could also say, I can see why he did that too.
Yeah. Well, he was getting beat up pretty bad, and he was going to take more abuse probably. I texted with my dad a little bit about that fight, and my dad said, he just kind of took the easy way out, and at the time I said, but that is an illegal strike, because it does render you. It can render you unconscious. Easiest way, hitting a person in the head, anywhere on your face and your head. If you get hit in the back of the head, that's the easiest place to render a guy unconscious, and really give him a significant concussion. So, it was landed there. You got to be careful. And he was, and that's victory for Brundage. But that's too bad it end up that way. Okay, the heavyweight fight between Muhammad Usman and Jake Collier. Muhammad Usman, man, like, this guy is a physical specimen. He's learning in the cage, as he said. He's, Kamaru is an amazing fighter, and this is the little brother of Kamaru, and this guy, I think, has the potential to be an incredible heavyweight eventually. Still pretty raw, but a nice victory for him over a good guy in Jake Collier.
Yeah, man, and Collier was really giving it to him with those leg kicks and stuff, right? Yeah. But once Usman gets it into his realm, which is the wrestling and the grappling, and gets you pinned down, man, that's a huge human being that you're trying to get out from underneath. A lot of people can't really do that.
No, he's a physical specimen that just looks unreal. Yeah,
and especially in that third round where he power slammed him.
Yeah,
he picked up Collier and he WWE slammed him.
Yeah,
I remember thinking to myself, I go, that's ridiculous strength.
Amazing. Yeah,
that's irregular strength. Like, you shouldn't be able to pick up a man that's probably at that time 270 and just go, slam him down to the ground. You can't do it. Yeah, that
was crazy, and he's so powerful, and when he keeps getting better, the sky's the limit, I think, for him, and he's just so strong. I like this new rule that they've brought in. There was an eye poke during this fight, and they have brought in a rule that the doctor is not allowed to ask you if you can see until the 5 minutes has elapsed.
Oh,
and
nice.
Then he can ask. I don't think the doctor followed the protocol, but
No.
this protocol has been put in place now, and I think it's a brilliant move, and less fights will end early from a doctor stoppage because of this new rule.
No, I think that's great. I think it's fantastic because you give the fighter time and the eyeball time to get over its stress, whatever just happened to it. And once that time has gone by, and then he asks the question, and the guy goes, "Where are you?" Then okay, the fight's over. All right, like you gave the fighter more than enough time to see if the fight can continue. I love it. I think it's the right way to go going forward.
Yeah, amazing. I'm glad they finally brought that in. It wasn't, the protocols weren't followed in this one. Dan Murgliata got the ref, got the doctor to come in. You're supposed to wait 90 seconds, and if the guy still can't see, and if there's any kind of visible damage that you're noticing, then you can call the doctor in. After 90 seconds, then the doctor is only allowed to ask you if you can see after the 5 minutes have elapsed. So, yeah, brilliant. Really like that they are bringing these rules in. While we're talking about rules, I do want to just quickly say that the Nevada State Athletic Commission held an emergency rules meeting following the Shevchenko-Grasso fight, and to ensure that judges know what a 10-8 round is supposed to be looking like. And that was an amazing quick reaction to something that has created a big firestorm over a terrible judging mistake that was made by Mike Bell. And they held emergency meeting and had a lot of people involved in the mixed martial arts community to come in and discuss it and try to make sure the judges are aware of what a 10-8 round is going forward.
Yeah, again, problems with judges. We've always had these problems with judges. They're trying their best. They're trying, because like when you get it wrong like that, you know what you resemble more often than not? Boxing.
Yeah.
And we all know boxing's dirty.
Yeah.
The UFC, if there's one thing the UFC has been trying to pride themselves on, is not going and having that look.
Yeah.
Because they don't need it. They don't need that look. They don't want that look. So yes, the judging has always been problematic. I love the fact that now you're seeing more and more former fighters becoming judges. Chris Lieben.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. Yeah. So
that's
great.
what you need. That's what you need. You need people like that.
Yeah.
Please. More of that. That dude knows exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Because he's been there. He knows. And I loved it. I love the fact I didn't even know. I'm like, is that Chris Lieben? That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, I was
like that.
I wanted to mention that too, and that's so great. I think it should be almost all former fighters, guys that have been in there, know the sport, know how to properly judge it. We've got to make a change because, all three judges, in my opinion, messed that fight up between Shevchenko and Grasso. And, those are supposed to be the three gold standard judges of the sport. And they all three messed up that judging decision. So, I was shocked and amazed that they made that quick of a meeting, called to arms and said, hey, this was a mistake. Let's make sure you all know what a 10-8 is going forward. And the other thing I wanted to mention that we never got to talk to last week because you weren't here was that the UFC, for the first ever time, got the T-Mobile Arena on Mexican Independence Day. And Dana White said that going forward, that's my place. No matter what, I'm having a fight. I'm going to have a fight that night for the rest of the history, as long as I'm part of this organization. And it was huge. I don't know if he can guarantee that he'll have the T-Mobile Arena, but if boxing does, then he said he'll still have a card that night, same time, doesn't matter. He said it showcased how influential Mexican fighters have become and how big it is in the Latin community. And it was one of the shining moments in UFC history. And so, cool for them to get that date, and amazing to see the turnout and to see that Dana White noticed it enough to say that going forward, they're going to have a fight card on that date forever and ever and ever.
I think that's cool. I think that's fantastic. I think that's great. Because I believe that date has usually been reserved for boxing. More importantly, Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
Like that. That's literally my thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works out well for them, but for him to guarantee that they can get T-Mobile Arena, yeah, good luck with that. That's all I'm going to say. Yep, good luck. I don't think that's going to be an actual thing unless you're willing to put down quite a bit of money, because you're going to be in a bidding war. You can't. Yeah, that's not happening. Sorry.
No.
Not
yeah,
happening.
I realize that. Yeah. But yeah, luckily, we'll have fights about that the whole time. That's it for me that I want to mention from UFC Fight Night Vegas 79. Anything more for you?
Just that the Mizuki Goldie fight. Okay, so when Goldie came in, Mizuki won that fight, and she won it well with her superior movement and speed. Goldie was probably the most jacked woman I think I've ever seen in the UFC. Period.
Yeah,
she came in, and I was just like, "What is that?"
Pitbull. Yeah.
Oh my
Pitbull.
goodness! She looked like she looked like a house.
Yeah,
like a house, man. Like I was just like, okay, so the one lady has speed, the other one has power.
yeah.
Okay,
I know. Amazing.
yeah. I was impressed. I'm like, all right,
115 pounds in that jacked. It was incredible to see, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to mention, because I was just like, I was blown away by that. I wasn't expecting that.
No, me either. Yeah, she was just unreal.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of notes before we go. Try to find the Dana White interview with Piers Morgan. Phenomenal, amazing. One of the best interviews I've ever seen Dana White do. Really good. Try to find the Joe Rogan Francis Ngannou that was just done this week. Great. Francis mentioned a lot of really good things, but one of the things that stands out to me was after the UFC moved up the pay-per-view price from 60 to 80, he got offered 25 cents more per pay-per-view in that $20.
I saw that.
Yeah, so he was getting $1.25 per pay-per-view when it was at $60. When it moved up to 80, they were going to offer him $1.50. $1.50, that's it. So that was one of the things that he said failed in their negotiations, and among other things. But $1.50 for $80, that's brutal. Yeah. The other thing was in this Endeavor UFC New World, they laid off 100 employees. Most of them are from WWE, but some from UFC as well. Dana White, in that Piers Morgan interview and many other times, always said that when the pandemic hit, he didn't lay off a single solitary employee, and really said, in the history of our company, we've been able to do great things, but the first time we face some adversity, I'm not getting rid of my staff over this, and I'm going to keep them around. I don't know if he doesn't have any say anymore when this is over, might not. And so that kind of blew me away, that this is the first thing that they do is get rid of 100 employees. PFL is reacting by buying Bellator. PFL is going to buy Bellator. They are close to buying Bellator. And we've talked about, you and I've talked about, they've aligned themselves with the Saudis, and that's their reaction. UFC's reaction is to get rid of people. PFL is taking over way more people. So this fight to me is PFL's winning right now so far, and from the backroom dealings that I'm seeing.
The one thing that the UFC, well, if they're smart, they should be kind of concerned about is this. They have money now.
Yeah.
They got backing, and they got a pot of plenty that will never run dry.
Yeah.
It's not running dry anytime soon. So that's your real competitor now. You got a real competitor now on North American soil, and you better start taking it seriously. So now with the dealings, now when you hear about this bullshit with Francis Ngannou and the fact that you offered $1.50, guess what? That shit's over.
Yeah.
That's over, man.
Yeah.
Because once you do that to you start disrespecting other fighters, other champions. Cool, leaving. I'm just gonna go get that Saudi money. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good luck with everything here.
I don't know the political dealings that the Saudis have with the United Arab Emirates. I'm not really sure how, if they have a lot of animosity towards each other or they're aligned in any way. But UAE and Abu Dhabi has been always aligned with the UFC, and with the Saudis now with the PFL. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's an interesting thing that I might look into to see, what the back history has been there. But, they both got a lot of money. I don't think the UAE contributes the same way that the Saudis are trying to do with PIF.
They're not doing it that way.
We'll see. This is going to be a crazy war, and outside the cage, interesting to see and break down, and we'll have a lot to discuss over the next little while.
Well, the one thing that I see from this happening, the changing of this landscape, the fighters are going to benefit. End of the day, fighters are going to benefit. And that's who should be benefiting, because when you see these guys all lined up in the freaking hospital, they're the ones that are putting on the event. They're the ones that are giving us the entertainment. They're the ones that should be benefiting the most.
Totally. 100%. A few fights that got announced by Dana White this week for the UFC that I'm super excited about. Just wanted to get you a quick reaction. The US heavyweight title is on the line. Yuri Prochazka against Poatan Alex Pereira, UFC 295 in MSG, the co-main event underneath the John Jones Stipe Miocic main event. Pretty jacked and excited about this. As long as Prochazka can come back 100% healthy, this fight could be one of the best fights in UFC history.
That could be an awesome fight. Has he been out for 2 years? Prochazka?
No.
Like a year and a half?
Yeah, close. Yeah, I'd say about, yeah.
I'm all for it. I just hope that he didn't rush himself. Yeah. That's it. That's all I want the best for that guy. And knowing how severe that injury was that he sustained, I hope he's not rushing himself back. That's it.
That Saturday, November 11th, that could be a main card for a pay-per-view amongst itself. It's the co-main underneath Jones and Stipe, so looking forward to it. The UFC 296 announcements, they made a few announcements. Colby Covington, Leon Edwards for the welterweight title. Oh, please don't let Colby win this title. Hopefully Rocky wins. Edwards was at the Bellator event in Dublin on Saturday, and he entered the cage after his brother got KO'd and got into a fight with the guy, Johnny Eblin, that knocked him out. And Eblin just kept yelling at him, "You're next, you're next, you're next." And it was pretty good. Lots of security in between them, so they never came to blows, but it was pretty wild to watch. This guy's scary. He's 14-0, 2 title defenses, maybe one of the best 185ers in the world. And we'll see if he joins PFL. It could be a big coup for them. It was pretty wild. You'll have to catch some of the highlights of the KO. The fight was great, and the KO and the interaction after is pretty wild.
No, of course. Yeah, the antics after are always pretty good. I didn't know Leon Edwards' brother was fighting. I had no idea. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Fabian Edwards is his name, and he's really good. He's fighting in Bellator. So, and they were there in Dublin. The UFC 296 co-main has Brandon Royval, Alex Pantoja rematch. Pantoja winning the title over Brandon Moreno recently. They had a fight in August 21st of 2021. Pantoja got a rear naked choke win in the second round. Performance of the night, Pantoja, 3 fights in a row, but that fight was great. Really look forward to seeing the rematch. I think that'll be an awesome co-main on UFC 296.
Yep, great match. It's going to be a great fight. Those guys fight each other on every level of mixed martial arts. It's going to be a whirlwind of action.
Yeah,
literally.
And the other one that created a bunch of controversy this week that got announced, Tony Ferguson will face Paddy Pimblett. Ferguson on a 6-fight losing streak, Pimblett on a 6-fight winning streak. A lot of people say that they're trying to end Tony's career this way. What are your thoughts?
If Tony can't get past Pimblett, then he should consider retiring.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts exactly.
Yeah, seven losses in a row.
All right.
That's okay. 7 losses in a row. I don't see Ferguson continuing. Pimblett's still pretty raw in my opinion.
Yes.
I don't know why, but they don't usually give a guy against a bad losing streak against a good winning streak. But you know, this should be a fun fight. And you know, end of Tony's career if he loses. If he wins, pretty big feather in his cap, I guess. And but we'll see how it turns out. Should be some good fights coming up. Pretty good announcements this week.
No, great fights coming up. I'm looking forward to all of those fights. I really am. But again, going back to Tony Ferguson, if he loses this fight, I'm pretty sure he's out of the UFC, and he should just call it quits, call it a day. Because at any other point in time in his career, Paddy Pimblett would be decimated by that dude.
Yeah.
Period.
Tune into Dana White Contender Series on Tuesday. Handing out contracts like crazy and amazing fights. That's the only fights they should have in the Apex. Ultimate Fighter, Contender Series. No other card should be in Apex anymore. Get them out on the road. Get them to other places. That Apex is terrible for these great fighters to showcase their wares. They need to be in front of their hometown fans, in front of great crowds. Screw the Apex that's done. We utilized it for the pandemic, COVID and all that. Don't use it anymore. Let's move on. We've had enough. And these fighters deserve to fight in front of huge crowds. And you get such a tiny little crowd there. I think it's horrible. I don't like it at all.
It's cost-cutting measure. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. Complete cost-cutting measure, saves some money.
Yeah. Okay, well, great podcast as always, man. Fun to break down the NFL, the UFC, and everything else. Enjoy the Monday Night Football tonight, and have a great week ahead. Glad I could share the good news that the writers have come to some type of agreement here, and hopefully we'll get back to work soon.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to hopefully at some point in time getting back to work soon, and looking forward to watching some football now.
Okay, buddy. All right. Have a great night. Take care.
All right.
See you soon.
You too. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Wonderful. Thanks so much for sticking in. Great podcast as always. Amazing. Just want to say thank you to everyone for your support. Getting great views, get great feedback and everything. Subscribe, like, tell your friends, tell your family, and tune in every Monday. We're going to do some more podcasts coming up in some of the other genres we have. Go to CompleteSportsMedia.com, CompleteMediaNetwork.com. And I want to thank our partners and sponsors. Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Phenomenal. Just go to Anchor.fm. They post on multiple podcast platforms for us, and we love them. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, an industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is a must-have for any hockey player in your midst. Pampas and Possibilities, they design West Coast beautiful things for your home. Get them to come in and spruce up your home. You will be glad you did. And last but not least, Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. We love them here. You'll love them too. You can find them on our website at discounted rates. So take care of yourself. Have a great week ahead. Enjoy the Monday Night Football. And chime in give me or give us a send us some feedback, some comments. We love them, and we will talk soon. Take care of yourself. Love you lots. Bye for now.